Welcome one and welcome all tonight to the first round of the finals series in the NZ Toyota 86 E-Cup. This is going to be a magnificent competition. We've been through 2 stages already of qualifying for this 5-round finals series, and we're getting ready here at Mid-Ohio for the first of an onslaught of 5 events here on iRacing in the Toyota GR86 Cup car, winning some fantastic prizes in store for our top 3. We will talk about that when we get round to it. For now, we'll introduce ourselves and the broadcast to you here on NZ Sim Racing TV. I'm Reese Gardner, hailing from Perth in Western Australia, and from the eastern states, it's Scott Rankin alongside me in the comms box. We loved commentating the NZ Esports Hyperfiber League last year, Scott, and it's great to get back across the pond for this one once more.
Yeah, and I think a lot of similarities between the 2 series as well, but this one's, oh boy, I am so jealous I'm not able to get out there and actually be a part of the racing action. Fun fact, I was actually looking at properties in New Zealand about 2 weeks ago to potentially buy up, maybe move across and join New Zealand, and then I'd be out there, right? I'd be out there, and the big part about this one, Reese, what are these drivers fighting for? They're fighting for an opportunity to test day at Hampton Downs in a Toyota 86. This is right where I want to be if I'm interested in getting into motorsports in terms of New Zealand. And my favourite part about this is that we're finally really starting to see that connection from sim to real world. I cannot tell you how excited that connection and how it's being managed and handled in New Zealand. It really makes me proud of what our community is capable of doing and the connections we're making. This is for me the logical future and the logical next step. I'm so keen. I'm so keen for this series.
As am I. I echo all of your points. You know, it's amazing the efforts of the NZ Sim Racing Collective. Mark from Cream Insurance, one of the major sponsors of this series, also helping to get this series off the ground and be able to offer that opportunity to some of New Zealand's best sim racers and have an excellent opportunity indeed. Well, the drivers in practice at the moment for this first round at Mid-Ohio. As I mentioned, we have 5 rounds upcoming here in the finals series, and it's going to be weekly from here on out. Round 2 is going to take us to Homestead Miami Speedway. Then we go to Mobility Resort Motegi in Japan for round 3. The Long Beach Street Circuit in California plays host to round 4. And we end the series in Australia at Sandown International Motor Raceway. It's going to be the same format for every single round here. We've got 3 races on the cards here tonight with a top 10 invert for race 2. It's going to be interesting to be sure.
Yeah, and critically, I think one of the things you didn't sort of mention there, I think this is actually the design of the rounds and how things are done and structured in terms of New Zealand 86s as well. A medium-length race to start the night off. Race number 2 is going to be a longer format race. It's going to be the longest of the night. And then into the feature, we're going to invert the top 10 and have the shortest little race to finish the night off. It's quite an impactful racing format as well, because it basically says all 3 of these races are critical, they're all different, and they're all going to take a little bit difference. The biggest thing about the 86 package, low power, low downforce, very soft suspension. You're going to see a lot of body roll across the duration for these cars, but it develops all of the critical things that you need to be successful as a driver. When I see a lot of drivers come to me asking for advice, Scott, where should I get started, where should I get involved? This is normally the car that I tell them. Why? The driving techniques you need to master at higher speeds with quicker reaction times, all of that starts here. This will teach you about car balance, it'll teach you about weight rotation, it'll teach you about patience, not hitting the traction control, and also when to be aggressive, when to sit and wait, when to bump draft. These are all very critical skills if you're going to be a successful car driver.
Yeah, absolutely. The GR86 really does help to teach you those basics of competition driving. It's a lovely light machine, this car, and it's done in the spirit of the old Toyota Corolla GT86 from the 1980s, that rear-wheel drive Corolla made so famous by Takumi from Initial D. This car's all about handling, rear-wheel drive, a flat 4 engine producing not a very significant amount of power, but enough to at least get it around the track. The corners are where this car really makes up its time, so it forces you to concentrate on that turn in, on setting up the car right into these corners, and making sure you get out properly. And one thing's for sure, the racing is always super close in these cars, so it's a great learning opportunity for drivers.
Yeah, I think that's really, really impactful and really critical. One of the things you've got to learn from, particularly when you're in lower horsepower cars, is that if you're going to fight, well, there's a good chance the guys ahead of you might just get away and make that breakaway. So you've got to be clean and concise. And if you're starting to fall off the back end of that pack and you think the guy that you're with may be able to reattach themselves, it's actually smarter to sit in behind him and give yourself an opportunity at a bunch of extra spots. So that's a very, very, it teaches racecraft. There are absolutely times to go for it, absolutely times to sit back, watch it, be aggressive. Tonight's racetrack as well, this is a tricky little track. There's a lot of intricate braking zones, a lot of deceptive corners where you've got to balance the car. You can turn in early, you're going to sacrifice exit. You can turn in late, going to get a great exit, but you're going to sacrifice entry. So a lot of opportunity to do that, but also critically, only a couple of overtaking zones. Easy overtaking zones. You can overtake just about any corner on this track, but you've got to rely on a mistake from the guy that's ahead of you. So a lot to come our way. And Reece, I really like this next opportunity we're going to get an opportunity to talk to somebody who's quite critical in the development of a lot of drivers in New Zealand motorsports. And it's going to be Mark Mallard out of Cream Insurance. I cannot wait, because this guy is so critical at building careers of up-and-coming racing drivers. You've got to have a really good support network, really good sponsor base in behind you, and Mark's been critical to that for a number of drivers that are now making headlines throughout the world over.
Yes, indeed. We'll get him in just a few moments. Tried to drag him into the interview channel, but I seem not to have the permissions that I need. So we'll sort that out in just a few moments' time. And it looks like we are now joined here by Mark Mallard from Cream Insurance, major supporter of motorsports and sim racing in New Zealand. Mark, welcome to the broadcast. There's been a lot of effort that's gone into setting up this series, and you must be happy with how things are getting off here for the first round. We've got a great field of drivers here.
Yeah, it's awesome to see. We've through my company, we've supported a lot of New Zealand races, both from sim world to in the real world, and we've helped start with Hugo Allen, who just won the 86 championship, and in the past we've actually had Antel, one of the top runners for this series, run with us in Sangyong Youths, so it's been great.
Absolutely. It's awesome to see the support that you've given to the motorsport scene in New Zealand through your company. Cream Insurance offering various insurance policies, including home, automotive, health, travel, renters insurances, various business level insurances also. Obviously a fantastic job from you to contribute a lot financially to the New Zealand motorsport scene and to this championship as well. I think it's safe to say this would have been a lot more difficult to make happen without your support.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to give back. I've got a lot out of the sport and I enjoy it myself and with my family, and I've had a long family connection, so it's very enjoyable to do this sort of thing. Unfortunately today I'm having a few computer issues, so I was going to jump on with the guys, but it's jumping around. But it's great to see young talent making their way through, and we've supported a lot of young drivers that are trying to make it and have made it, so it's pretty cool to be part of that and see their successes, and to be a little bit of a share with some of the financial success I've had is really good to support. And it's going to be cool from this series. We've got a 86 that we're going to get out and see how good someone can convert to the real world, and then we might see what opportunities we can try and find for them if they hit the mark in the real car.
Indeed, a big prize, that test day in a Toyota 86 Cup car at Hampton Downs, provided by yourselves at Cream Insurance, plus 24 Red and Race Lab. There's also the matter of wildcard drivers as well, Mark. If we look on the broadcast, we can see that there's black windscreen banners for most of the drivers, but there's a few white ones out there. They're wildcard drivers that you have selected to bring in for certain rounds of this series.
Yeah, we've got a few mates that race in the 86 set championship. My son races in it, and a few of the other real 86 drivers that might not have been able to get on for qualifying and other things. So we support them around the world, and so we'll try and get a few names to come on and jump on and enjoy this series as well, and challenge the front guys. I definitely won't be that one of those drivers. I'll try and just stay out of the way and not get lapped more than anything myself. But yeah, no, hopefully if I can get everything running and run a bit of practice, get out there myself. But we might have some pretty cool drivers that can come along and show these sim races what the real world drivers do.
Yeah, of course, the wildcard entries will not be eligible for championship points, but they will definitely be out there strutting their stuff and making sure that everybody is up to scratch here in terms of pace. Well, Mark, thank you once again for all of your support of this series. Hopefully you'll be able to get out there on track, and thank you very much also for joining us here on the broadcast. Great to have you on.
Thanks, mate. Enjoyed tonight. Thanks, mate.
It's Mark Mallard from Cream Insurance, the major sponsor of the Toyota NZ86E Cup. I tell you what, Scott, I'm looking forward to what's to come here. This is going to be a massive opening round.
Yeah, like I said, I'm just jealous because I love these little race cars as well, the little buzz boxes. A lot of people refer to the Renault Clio as the hairdresser's car. Well, for me, this is the next step up. I love the engine, I always have. I was lucky enough that I can lay claim to the second fastest lap around the Nürburgring 24-hour layout for a long time in this car. I've lost that record since, but I did have talent at one point. But for the fans that are watching along at home, if you've just got, you're interested in motorsport, this is one of the ways to get into it. Like I said, entry-level car, really good fun, buzz box. The racing is door-to-door. You've got to learn how to race people door-to-door because it's going to be side-by-side. Bump drafting is a big factor in it. You know, crossover moves, everything. This car really, really encompasses the opportunities. If you can't be successful in this car, work on it. And the best part is it's a great platform. If you're going to make a mistake, that mistake's going to happen in slow motion, which means that when you step it up, you're looking at maybe a supercar or a GT3 or whatever that next step is for you, even if it's NASCAR, IndyCar, open wheelers, these sorts of things. All of the things that happen in this car are broken down in slow motion, and there's a lot of opportunity. But yeah, I think it's time to say some more thank yous to our sponsors and get on with some videos.
In the heart of the action, where adrenaline meets precision, where every second on the clock, every gear shifted and every corner carved tells a story of passion, innovation and relentless pursuit of speed. This is no ordinary sport. This is motorsport. Racing isn't just about the blur of the track or the scream of the engines. It's a ballet of brute force and beauty, where drivers and machines push the limits of physics in their dance around the asphalt. Off the track, rallying and club sport take the challenge to the wild, with nature's unpredictability adding to the thrill. Here, drivers weave through winding paths, their vehicles barely touching the ground as they leap over hills, thunder through forests, and navigate paddocks, car parks and city streets. Of course, none of this would be possible without the teams of dedicated mechanics, engineers and crews who breathe life into these mechanical beasts, crafting and fine-tuning until the engine's perfection. But the pulse of the sport beats strongest behind the scenes with the unsung heroes, our volunteers, our officials and our clubs. They are the backbone of every event, guardians of the sport's integrity and safety, ensuring the sport goes on, come rain or shine. At its core, motorsport is about family, friendship, and the community we build around our shared love for motorsport. It's where lifelong bonds are formed in the heat of competition and the cheer of the crowd. Every drop of sweat, every burst of speed, every cheer from the stands fuels this extraordinary world. Here, we don't just compete, we ignite dreams and race together towards greatness. This is no ordinary sport. This is Motorsport New Zealand. Join us and be part of the excitement, passion and glory.
You have something in your mind, you are able to create it, build it, and then someone from the other side of the world came and tell you that they want to spread this product to 50 countries in the world, so it's a huge personal.
Big thanks to all of our supporters here for the NZ Toyota 86E Cup. We're going to go through the details for this round. Qualifying almost upon us here. 15 minutes for the drivers to set their times for the race 1 grid. It's going to be a 13-lap race, sprint all the way to the end. Then race 2 will take place. 16 laps, longest race of the night, as Scott Rankin pointed out before. Inversion of the top 10 from the results of race 1. And then race 3, a short 10-lap sprint all the way to the end of the night. No compulsory pit stops in any of these races. It's going to be a magnificent night indeed here for the Mid-Ohio 140, the first round of the New Zealand Toyota 86E Cup. And to take you around the track here, our race administrator, Matthew Pluck, doing a little demonstration lap for us here in the BMW M2, which is going to serve as the safety car for this series. Down a very short front straight here at Mid-Ohio. You're braking deep into the sweeping first corner. Be careful of the curb on the inside there. That's where pit lane re-enters the racetrack. Try not to get onto the grass. Switch over to the other side of the track for the keyhole at turn 2. This hairpin starting up at the top of the hill and moving all the way down to the bottom. Late apex is going to be crucial at this particular corner, and you need to get that exit right because you've got the long back stretch to come. This is where race starts take place, usually at Mid-Ohio, but not in the sim, going through a little right-hand kink and then on board for one of the most difficult parts of the circuit. Pick your braking marker and move down into the first of our sweeping hairpins here. A fast entry, but all the way up the top of the hill, the car wants to wash out over the crest here. You got to keep to the left-hand side of the track to open it up here for Thunder Alley, which is yet to come here. Up over the top of the hill once again. You can't see the entry to these double right-handers, and you have to carry the speed all the way through. Make sure you have some good rotation on the car. And then, for my money, one of the most difficult parts of the racetrack. Flat out through here, just a little tap, maybe trailing the brakes through this left-hand sweeper, and then into the carousel, the penultimate corner, sticking to the inside here. Maybe run out a little wide if you want to get the exit right onto the start-finish straight. It should be just flat out through that left-hander to end the lap here at Mid-Ohio. It's a mega short circuit, this one, built in the 1950s, and one of the classic purpose-built road courses in the United States, only 3.6 kilometers long, Scott. It is a perfect track for these cars.
Yeah, one of the big things is it's an IndyCar track, and I'm an IndyCar nut, as you well know. So I love this little place. It's tricky, it's technical, it challenges drivers. This is just one of those tracks with some elevation change, but not an immense amount. This is no mountain, that's for sure, but it's certainly going to challenge you as this hairpin that's sort of at the back end of this corner right up here. You rise up in the braking zone, and then you fall away in the middle of the corner. The car's going to understeer as it gets unloaded in the front end. The next braking zone is down through a little bit of a dip down at turn 4, and then up through a rise at 5 and falls away again at 6. So again, more angle change, rise and fall, where the weight is balanced on the car. This one will really challenge the driver. Again, it's technical. You've got to get your turn-in points right, because as soon as you crest a hill, if the car's not pointed in the wrong directions, the suspension and the body rolls are all going to play a part. That's really, really important to get that right. You know, I think one of the other cool things was the fact that we got to see that lap on board, and Matt said, look, I had so many problems trying to get this little BMW M2 on the circuit because it's also a challenging little car. It's a short chassis. It's a different thing as well. So, look, I mean, that's one of the biggest things, right, is that we've all got to start somewhere. For these guys that have qualified in this field, this isn't your entry-level guys. This is the guys they've entered, they've done some of that hard work, they've worked on their pace, and now they've popped back out. But this is the cars that they're sort of starting in. And I can't, again, the amount of guys that come to me, Reese, and they're driving supercars, they're driving GT3s, and they go, Scott, I'm struggling. I can't get the car to turn in. I'm spinning the car at every apex. How do I learn to drive this thing? And my first response to them is, get out of GT3s, get out of supercars, get in this thing, because you're only going to go slower until you get those basics down. And I cannot stress that enough. You don't jump. I know you want to. I know it's really, really easy to jump into those high-powered cars, but there's a reason that there are entry-level cars in the service that you've got to get those technical basics right. Cannot stress that enough.
Yeah, for sure. Qualifying is upon us now, and the drivers are on their outlaps here, getting ready for the 15 minutes running on the clock. Leading the charge out of the pits was Ewan Baker, who topped practice on a 1:35.071. That is the pace being set. So the benchmark that everyone will be chasing is a 1-minute 35-second lap time. And considering Ewan Baker was out so far ahead of everybody else, it seems like the rest of the field here is going to be struggling to find some space. Now, there is some potential for slipstream down the back stretch, but I would argue that if you're going to try and set up for a lap here, you'd ideally want a bit more space between yourself and the cars in front of you. I think we're going to see a few drivers not be satisfied with their initial laps here.
Well, I mean, it's about working out who you're in and around. It's about knowing the competition. It's about doing a little bit of that research. You're right. The biggest benefit for Ewan Baker is he's going to be the first driver to come out of the final couple corners and start his flying lap. Tyres are going to be not quite up to temperatures. His first lap's not necessarily going to be peak pace. It's going to be close, but not quite peak performance out of the tyres. But the critical thing for him is he's got that clear air. The other benefit of clear air is there's not somebody in front of you. The biggest thing that I struggle with when I'm generally trying to get a tow is I don't trust the guy ahead of me. I'm a little bit faster, I'm a little bit slower than him, so either I'm chasing the braking zone too much to try and stay with him so I can get that tow, or I'm a touch faster and then I've got to compromise my lap somewhere. So sometimes one of the biggest things, I know personally I've been one of Ewan Baker's biggest critics at times, and you know, be that what it is, but I think this is a really smart decision. This shows a little bit of maturity going, right, first night of the season, got to lock this lap in, want to do it, want to get out there on my own.
Look at how deep he goes under brakes there and still hooking up the apex. Ewan's got this GR86 down pat. He has a lot of experience in this car, and he certainly knows how to send it into the corners. Look at the lack of steering angle that you're seeing on this car. Very sensitive steering in this machine. And so Baker is sort of sailing in, sort of planting the car on the rear end and letting the rear do most of the work here. Some great rotation through the corners on this lap.
Yeah, so again, nice balance, and you can see not too much wheel work, and the big thing from that says he's not pushing the entries, he's not understeering, he's not picking up the throttle too early, too aggressive. I've just watched a little bit of a mistake from somebody just in behind Hamish Cleland, and Cleland's no slouch either. It was Bryce Harding that did actually go around, so a little bit of a mistake from Harding means that he's going to spin and hopefully stay away from the racing line. But for Ewan Baker, first time on the board, 0.3 of a second away from his best lap time that he set in practice. And remember, he was top of the board, so that is going to start us off really, really solid. That is a lap time out there for them all to chase.
Certainly is. Slotting into second, Alex Sprague, 0.4 off the car of Ewan Baker there. Alex hailing from Timaru, and racing cars in real life in the Honda Integra. In the 2K Cup South Island. Just amazing the breadth of real-life experience that we're seeing in this series. Sprague falling down to 5th place, as it looks like Anna Klemic has put down the fastest non-Ewan Baker time thus far, getting within 1.5 tenths of our provisional pole sitter. Antal Sabo, though, coming in qualifying, we didn't see him at all through practice, and he has made a big statement there with a 135.15, champion of the Hyperfiber League last year in the Porsche Cup. Certainly quick in the 86 as well.
Well, I tell you what, he did actually set a couple lap times right at the back end of the practice session, but the big thing is that he actually improved upon that by 19 thousandths of a second. So he's gone just actually, sorry, my apologies, 21 thousandths of a second. I can't count tonight, so we're off to a great start when my math's already out the window. But the big thing is, get yourself in. Look at the guys that haven't set a lap time early on. We're missing laps from Bryce Harding. Already talked about his spin. Aidan Lamont is trying to get out of everyone's way at the moment. He's in a little bit of a hole. AJ Giddy was very quick, was only a couple tenths off of the top of the timing sheets in terms of practice. Fraser Clegg is out there and turning laps. Tyler Williams is also out there, and he'll be looking to see if he can't improve a little bit. So there's a bunch of guys who failed to set a lap time at that first point of asking. 15 minutes for qualifying, only a minute and 30 seconds. Well, 90 seconds around. You had to do an out lap. There's probably enough time here for about 5 or 6 laps.
Yeah, so make sure that you have the clear air in front of you. Make sure that you get the lap down and avoid the dreaded off-track 1X. If you're not familiar with how iRacing works, well, every time you go through a corner, if you dip a wheel off into the grass, then you'll get a 1X off-track incident, and that's going to invalidate your lap time. As we check out our first replay of the series, big spin there for the number 79 machine. That is Bryce Harding that's gone for a big spin round the sort of Thunder Alley sort of area of the circuit. That's exactly what you want to avoid here in qualifying. You also need to make sure that you don't overheat the tires too much. Looks like a reasonably cool day out there, 24 degrees Celsius track temperature, but any spin, any slide that you have is going to put heat into those tires that's going to make the car even more slippery.
Yeah, have a look at Mackenzie Motorsports cars trying to work together a little bit here. They look like they're not on necessarily the fastest of laps. This might just be setting themselves up at the moment to have another crack, and not just Mitchell Sparrow in this group. It's Tom Bewley is just ahead. He sits 7th at the moment. AJ Giddy's just in behind these guys as well. And then you've got Aidan Gregory. So the 4 of those guys are all lined up on the track to get a little bit of time to work with. How pretty does that look, though, when you get 4 of the team cars all lined up like that in a row? So everyone's pressing on.
Absolutely, and you'll notice that Giddy and Gregory both have the white windscreen banner. That means that they are wildcard drivers for this round, brought in by Mark from Cream Insurance. Onboard slide there. Oh, that's far from ideal. That's going to be a lap over for that car concerned there. It looks like quite a few drivers are having issues with the rear end here on these qualifying laps. I mean, we saw how much Ewan Baker was dancing on the rear end when we were riding on board with him, but that's one of the immutable characteristics of this car. It has a very light rear end, which is great if you want to go fast around a track like Mid-Ohio, but push too hard and the car will bite.
Yeah, and that's one of the biggest things is it's not something we're going to see from these cars tonight. It's not one of the things that we're really going to see, but one of the things that does happen with the softer suspension layout is that fuel cell's right in the rear of the car. As that fuel burns out, the car rotates completely in how it drives, and instead of going from an understeery car where the rear end is sagged and sat right down on the floor, all of a sudden you've got a very taily car where the rear end's got no weight over it, soft suspension, all that nose weight just really lifts up and can unsettle that rear end. So something that you've got to be aware of, particularly towards the back end of the race, is that the way that the car feels on lap 1 compared to how it feels at the tail end is very, very different. Also, worthwhile noting, 15-minute qualifying session, your quickest laps are going to have at the back end of the session. The reason for that, fuel burn. Make sure that you have got a car underneath you to do your best laps at the back end of the session. This front end of the session, all about banking times. We're at the halfway mark now. You got your banker in. Here's where you start to press on. The car will be a couple tenths faster as the session wears on.
Yeah, so if you're able to stay out there and commit to a long run, then you'll pay dividends towards your better lap time. Hayden Kirk, keeping an eye on him in the Kiwi Sim Racing Speed Nation team. Got a couple of cars going wide just behind. It looks like Hayden under a bit of trouble here, as it looks like Josh Lane going 6th fastest. James Corbin just setting a lap time there in the number 7 to go 4th, getting to within 5/100ths of Scotty McQueen, who we were focusing on before, running in 3rd. Kirk staying ahead here of the pursuing cars. Jack Grunwald Jr. up the inside there, and wide in the rear of the view was Bryce Harding. So maybe a little bit of miscommunication, a little messiness here in qualifying, and it's crunch time. We're almost about to reach the final 5 minutes. You need to be getting those lap times down now.
I'll tell you what, Antal Sabo, I said he's the first driver in the session to dip below that 1:35 marker. He's actually in the pit lane right now, so he's run back in the pit lane. The reason for that, and the biggest benefit of sim racing's cheap. You don't have to pay for fuel, you don't have to pay for tyres. He's in getting a fresh set of tyres, but critically, he's got the engine running whilst he's in pit lane. He's not burning racing fuel laps, but he is making sure he's continuing to tick that engine over. Now he's got fresh rubber. Does fresh rubber mean anything in this car? A little bit, but the biggest thing is making sure you've got tyres up to temperature and pressure. Rubber doesn't majorly wear. It does it does go off just a fraction, but this is the sim racer mindset, isn't it? He's looking for absolutely everything that's on the table.
Yeah, for sure, and it's worth pointing out, yeah, you can't actually change the fuel load in these servers. It is a fixed setup series, this. So you can't take fuel out for qualifying in the setup menu. Do what Antal Sabo is evidently doing, and make sure that the fuel burns off. You'll have a light car by the end of the session. Looks like we just saw Nathan Allen getting into 3rd spot, 135.2 for him. It's looking quite close, actually, from 3rd to 6th. No car separated by more than 1/10 of a second. In fact, we can go all the way down the field, and I'm seeing no gap beyond, like, just under 1/10 of a second until you get down to Noah Kitcher in 28th, who has Peter Vanderberg 0.3 of a second behind him. These gaps are insane. We're looking at as little as 0.004 of a second separating these guys.
Yeah, I look at those margins up at the pointy end. There's nothing in it. 19 thousandths between Leo Duncan and Tom Bewley. So that's for 6th and 7th in terms of qualifying. Bewley's just gotten a lovely toe down the back straight away as well from AJ Giddy, and then Giddy's dived out of the way, so he's got a little bit more help. 9 thousandths of a second at the moment between Alex Sprague, who's just starting a new lap. He was a touch off the pace, so a couple tenths worth of mistakes from him there, and a Klemek is 11 thousandths of a second further back from him. Then it's where you mentioned that gap, that 4 thousandths of a second. So that was 9th to 10th. Klemek is 10th at the moment. Sparrow, 4 thousandths of a second outside of your top 10. That is how tight it is for the big boy, the big ticket places inside of that top 10. James Watson has set a lap time. It's not quick at the moment. He could be looking to improve, but that's 32nd place at the moment. We are covered by just over 2 seconds.
Yeah, that is practically no field spread at all in these cars, which is magnificent to see. Well, keep our eyes peeled as the session ticks over into its final 2.5 minutes. Antal Sabo just starting another lap a few moments ago. He did get a little compromised on his way out of turn 1 with Avon Dunn in front of him. We will see what drivers like Aidan Lamont will be able to do starting their next lap there. The chicane running off to the bottom of the screen there, actually the original layout of this circuit, that straight run to the keyhole, did not exist when the track first opened. So I think the drivers will be grateful for a bit more of a rest here before they get to turn 2.
How cool's that scene? No, A46 guys in 86 disguise. I love that. He's just a car racing fan. And proudly brought to you by Wiratawa Beach Stay for Aidan Lamont as well. Replay coming our way at the moment, and it's going to be number 5 machine, and a little bit of a mistake here for him. Big old, you just see the tank slapper, and then it bites for Michael Borden hard to the fence, and that's the big corner where everyone's been having the issues tonight, isn't it, Reese? Down that section of the racetrack, because again, another corner where you're long, you're loaded, and there's a dip, and then there's a rise, and then there's a fall. So again, challenging. Look at that crest of the hill.
Yeah, it's an insane piece of racetrack there, and you've just made your way through a basically flat-out S-bend before you get on the brakes and continue turning right for that corner. So the car's already loaded up. You basically got to commit to the corner before you even know where your apex is going to be. That's one of the big challenging things about Mid-Ohio. Cameron Dance, friend of ours, we've commentated on many of his races, even shared the commentary box with him on many occasions too. Currently 15th in car number 6 for Orbit Drop Bear Motorsport, and he only has to make up a couple of hundredths of a second in order to get the lap time he needs. Once again, we see the McKenzie Motorsport cars flying in formation here down the back stretch. They seem to be helping each other out quite nicely. Mitchell Sparrow here up to 11th spot, and he'll be quite happy with how things are going for him. Tom Bewley behind 7th, AJ Giddy in 16th. So some space between these guys in terms of where they are going to start, but they're helping each other out pretty well.
I'm just hearing from Darren Lobb. I said he was going to be in this series and was looking forward to that one. So Darren's driven a lot of cars over in South Africa, even a South African national champion, but he's now an expat, resides in New Zealand these days. That man was not able to be interviewed after V8 Vets actually on Thursday night last week. The reason, he had to go get a couple hours sleep and then jump on a plane. He's holidaying in Australia at the moment. The reason he's not behind the wheel of a sim racing machine. But that is it, ladies and gents. First qualifying session of the season is run and done. And I tell you what, Ewan Baker would probably be a little bit disappointed. You always look at that timer, don't you, Reese, and go, I said a 1:35.017. Man, there was a 34 out there. I only had to find 18 thousandths.
Yeah, for sure. It's not ideal when you have that very tiny margin to work with here. Well, with the grid being set here, we should be waiting on Antal Sabo to join us very shortly for an interview, granting himself pole position there, the only driver in the 134s. And, well, I see him down there. We can bring him in for a chat. Antal, congratulations on getting the first pole position of the season here, thanks to Cream Insurance. Must feel good being the only driver in the 134-second bracket.
It was pretty good race, thank you very much. That was very good qualifying from us. We got a bit of help there from a fellow MRP car, so big thanks to Nathan on that one. He gave us a good half-tenth there. It's having a lot of fun with the combination, and just looking forward to the racing tonight.
Yeah, there's going to be plenty of racing to come here. We got 13 laps ahead of us here for the first race, but the top 10 is going to be inverted for race 2. So if you come away with the win in race 1, you're going to be starting back in 10th. Going to have to flex your racing muscles there.
We're ready for anything, mate. I'm ready to go. Ready to get side by side, fight my way through. Don't matter who it is. Keen to have fun.
Indeed, we can always count on you to get the nose in where required, Antal, and a great schedule here as well. What do you think of Mid-Ohio? I think it's a track that suits the GR86 quite well.
It's a very tight track for racing, but it's quite a very nice and twisty track, which always makes it fun. These cars are very complex a little bit with the sort of way you want to drive it around here. Time can get away with you from you very fast, so it's one of those tracks where you have to be super careful. But I'm just really looking forward to it. Looking forward to getting out there.
Yeah, well, we will let you get out there, Antel, and get your preparations done for race 1. Congratulations on pole position, and hopefully we're chatting to you by the end of the racing action tonight.
Cheers, guys. Cheers, team.
Antel Sabo there, your pole sitter for the first race of the night. And it is time for us to go through the grid here for race 1 of round 1 of the Toyota NZ GR86E Cup. Antel Sabo on pole position, Ewan Baker joining him on the front row. The number 7 of James Corbin getting into 3rd place alongside Nathan Allen. Row 3 is going to be Leo Duncan starting alongside Scotty McQueen, the privateer who's in this for himself and no one else. Tom Bewley and Josh Lane on the 4th row. The top 10 being rounded out by Alex Sprague and Anna Klemek.
Yeah, from there on back. And remember, this is where the 4,000ths of a second marker was between 10th and 11th. It's going to be Mitchell Sparrow. Hayden Kirk will line up to his outside. 13th and 14th, row number 7, Justin Davies from Corey Crowson. See how this one goes. Cam Dance is going to start out of row number 8 on 15th spot. Avon Dunn to his outside. AJ Giddy and another those Mackenzie Motorsport Machines out of 17th. Tyle Williams alongside of him. Michael Board went for a wild old ride in qualifying. He'll line up inside of 19th. Jack Gromwald Jr. is going to be the top 20s outside.
Hamish Cleland starting 21st alongside Aidan Lamont. That's your 11th row. Taylor Mitchell going to start the 337 out of 23rd alongside Aidan Gregory. Then we move back to row 13. Joel Herbert and Nathan Anderson. Bryce Harding in the number 79 will start 27th alongside Noah Kitcher in car 97. Peter Vanderberg in 29th with Taylor Oakes, the second of the Orbit Drop Bear cars, rounding out our top 30. Just a couple more cars behind them. Fraser Clegg, a 136.5. James Watson on a 136.9. We had Mark Mallard in the session in practice, but the man from Cream Insurance unable to set a time in qualifying. Hopefully he'll be able to get out there at some point tonight, but it looks like we're going to have 32 starters for this first race.
A big shout out to the guys that make it possible as well for the NZ86 Cup here. Of course, our primary naming rights sponsor, Crem Insurance, Next Level Racing, who have been supporting racing and everything inside of New Zealand for a very, very long time. Mannon Racing Products as well. Has 3D. And there'll be prizes from both Mannon Racing Products and Has 3D across the course of the night. Speed Nation, we talked about them last year during the Porsche Cup Series as well. Race Lab, who are making sure that your motorsports racing, including some historic cars. God, they've got some beautiful cars over on their website that I was having a quick look at before as well. 24 Red Racing. That gets us through the sponsors. Here we go, Reese.
Yes, revs rise for the standing start, and we are away. Got to be so careful here with the traction control in these cars. A sluggish start from many of our drivers here as they make their way to turn 1 for the first time. It's 3 wide for 4th. Scotty McQueen going to try and defend from Leo Duncan and Nathan Allen, with Tom Bewley getting in on the action there. Bewley all the way to the inside as Sabo leads us to turn 2. Ewan Baker shadowing him very closely. James Corbin right there, darting to the inside. In the background there was Mitchell Sparrow to try and get back past Alex Sprague here, who hasn't had the best of starts. It looks like, oh, dearie me, so much going on further back in the field. Some big slides up the back.
There was contact between Avon Dunn and I want to say Jack Gronald Jr. That's checked a bunch of guys up. I think Noah Kitcher had to lift out of the throttle just to provide some space to a bunch of different guys. It might have actually been Nathan Anderson there side by side. Look at them fan out as they run down the back straight away to turn number 4. They'll get on the anchors down here. They're 3 wide and there's a bunch of noses looking 4 wide. The keyhole. You can't go 3 wide through the keyhole on lap 1. You can go 2, but you've got to find a way to feed in.
Avon Dunn having to give some space there, but gets biffed by Josh Lane in the purple machine as he finds his way through and up into 26th. Goodness me, the racing is tough here on lap 1. They're all just trying to sort themselves out. It's only going to be a 13-lap race. It's barely any distance at all, but that's not even the shortest race we're going to have tonight. 10 laps on the cards for race 3, so you can bet that the end of the night is going to be even more chaotic than this.
Yeah, important to note, race number 1 is going to be all about learning. Race 2 is going to be the longest of the night. If you're looking to make spots, it's going to be in race number 2. Then they'll invert the top 10 for the final race. So do you want to finish inside the top 10 in race 1? Absolutely. Huge bank of points. And if something goes awry, you slide a few spots down, 10th spot, not a bad spot to finish race number 2. That is going to give you a red-hot shot at winning race number 3. But the critical factor, Reese, think about championship points as well. 3 races from every single round across the series. And look, I think win race 1, win race 2, and maybe a top 5 in race 3. That's probably my target for the night.
Yeah, indeed. 30 points on offer per race for the winners. Meanwhile, the battle for 7th spot, Nathan Allen and Mitchell Sparrow side by side into turn 4, but Sparrow's going to take the racing line on the way in. Looked like Allen maybe let him go there. The thing about Mid-Ohio on any track that's as twisty as this is you don't want to run side by side for too long. If you're going to make a move, make it stick right away if you can, because the more you run side by side with someone, the more time you lose to everyone behind.
Oh boy, Tom Bewley's just had a massive moment. He had a massive tank slapper. He's just barely managed to hang on to it. And Leo Duncan's cutting a little bit of a break. But the fact that that car is still on the racetrack, he had 4 or 5 goes at losing the rear end. Car's still underneath him at the moment. He's going
slide. Nathan Allen going around in the background there. He's fortunately just off the racing line. Sorry to cut you off.
Oh, here we go, Bryce Harding. It was this corner in qualifying where we're in around. He's gone around again, and Allen might have been the trigger for that. Harding's in the grass as they approach the last couple corners. Reese, I tell you what, Toyota 86s, they never fail to get the elbows out, and I think that's just kicked on here.
Yeah, looks like contact with Jack Grunwald for Bryce Harding there, and that's what sent him around. So never know, the stewards might want to have a look at that. But moving back to our top 3, breaking away from the rest of the field, Scotty McQueen all on his lonesome in 4th, but he might just be able to get a whisper of slipstream off the back of James Corbin there. Antal Sabo is already driving a bit defensively here. He's sticking all the way to the inside of the run off the kink there. Tell you what, he's certainly not free of Ewan Baker. One mistake, and the number 34 will be right on him.
So much has happened in the opening couple laps. Big winners, big shakers inside the top 10. It was actually not all that many. I think a bunch of those guys, Mitchell Sparrow's gained 4 spots, so he's managed to grab a whole bunch of track position. Leo Duncan's lost 1. Bewley's up 2, but he's lost touch with those leaders at the moment. Another driver that's managed to gain some spots, Corey Croson, 14th to 10th. Big one though, Taylor Mitchell. I think he's gained the most spots thus far, 23rd to 15th, so he'll be looking to pick off a few more if he can.
Saw some big issues for drivers just behind those guys. Aidan Lamont and Hamish Cleland both having massive slides up the back of the circuit. There's plenty of super close racing going on in the midfield here as we keep our eyes on Taylor Mitchell. He's going to take some great advantage here. There's quite a battle up in front of him. Aidan Gregory chasing down Michael Board and Tyler Williams. Williams in the blue and white machine on the left side of your screen there. Has to go wide. There's a slide from the number 5 of Michael Board, and that's going to be a freebie for Taylor Mitchell and the next few cars behind him. Seems that Gregory was also compromised. Has to leave just enough space for Nathan Anderson to get around him there and get back on the racing line for the keyhole. Anderson trying to stick to the inside and straighten out the exit of the corner as much as he can to keep up with Taylor Mitchell. In all of this, Williams still leading the pack.
Yeah, my word, how have they all managed to get away with this? And it's squabbling like you wouldn't believe. And these guys back here, somebody better tell them that's not for the race win, because I don't think any of them knows. They are fighting tooth and nail at the moment. You're right, Williams has got through, sits 14th on the road, so reasonably good start for him. I'm just taking a quick look a little bit deeper in the field. One of the drivers that's been on the slide, Avon Dunn. We talked about all the issues that Dunn had on that opening lap. Dropped 8 spots. Started 16th, now 24th. A really interesting story though, Jack Grunwald Jr. gained a lot of spots, lost a lot of spots. Guess what? He started 20th, he runs 20th.
Yeah, it's been a net zero race thus far for that driver. Keep an eye out for Avon Dunn though, because looks like having some problems there getting back online coming up to Thunder Alley. This is not ideal in the middle of a pack. You run offline for one corner, that is your rhythm messed up for the rest of the lap, and everyone will be on you like sharks.
moment. I think there is a feeding frenzy going on. We're just watching Aiden Gregory, who got in a little bit hot to one of the corners, put him a touch offline. Gronall Jr. I get the feeling from Gronall Jr.'s perspective, he's actually a little bit faster than a couple of these cars that are ahead of him, but he just can't pick them off at the moment. The opportunities that he's getting and where the mistakes are coming, it's just not in places where he's equipped to take advantage. Right now, I think he's going to try and have a crack here because he's definitely quicker than Gregory. Yep, there it is. He'll show the nose. Trying to get to the inside. Gregory's covered it off. And I reckon Gronall Jr. is actually coming to break there. He was up and alongside, and he's had his nose chopped a little bit, but everyone fires out the other side, and that's Gronall Jr., even though he's doing really, really well. I actually really like the way that he's driving at the moment because he's had a lot of contact in the first couple of laps. Car is still on the road, still making good race decisions. Very easy for him to lose his head at this point, not doing so.
This is the battle for race 2 pole position that we're looking at right now. Cameron Dance just passing Anna Klemic for 9th place. So Klemic currently has that coveted 10th spot, which when they invert will be the P1 start for race 2. So not the worst position to be in, but Anna's getting harassed here by the 2 Kiwi sim racing cars of Hayden Kirk and Justin Davies. There's a lot of battling going up ahead there. Cameron Dance boxed in a little bit behind Corey Crowson and Alex Sprague. This battle for 7th is absolutely going off.
It certainly is. Little bit of mistake. Ran a touch deep, did Corey Crowson, but that gained him a little bit of space on the exit. He managed to pick that spot up. Sprague, though, then got attacked by Cameron Dance. So it's a lot of seeing and soaring. Have a look at Dance. He is head on. He is looking as far as he possibly can down the track. Tips it in. Well, I reckon, I've always said it, Reese, leaning into the corner, that's worth a few extra tenths.
Yep, Cameron Dance well known for that in his hyperstimulator rig. That's definitely a throwback for those of you who were around the AusNZ sim racing scene in the early 2010s. Tui on the rig as well. He knows where his bread is buttered, so to speak. Let's see what Cameron Dance will be able to do to find his way past Alex Sprague, because Corey Crossan at the front of this pack has a long gap ahead to Mitchell Sparrow. Looks like maybe a move to the inside there for Crossan. He knows that Alex Sprague is on his way there, but has to sit behind for the next corner. And there's no opportunity for Dance to get through here.
I think the big thing is these guys are actually starting to lose Leo Duncan and Mitchell Sparrow up and ahead of them, and they are squabbling. Crossan's shown that he's going to be a little bit defensive. He thinks that he can lead this pack, but the problem is he's never getting an opportunity to set reasonable lap times to go these guys there. Sprague thinks he's quicker, and Cam Dance's just sitting there going, come on guys, I want to get through. I think I've got speed as well, but he can't go anywhere. All of the opportunities are being sapped from him. That's allowed this whole battle pack in behind to just sort of close up. So he's being really circumspect about how he's going to set it up. And the big thing for him is he's always trying to build a run. Just that way when the mistake comes, he can take full advantage. He's got the momentum. If he has to lift out, yeah, that's okay. Settle back in. But he's focused on building the run out the other side. And that's the big key. If these two come to blows, they both make a mistake, he's going to shoot through and pick the pockets of both of them.
For sure. I've come to know Cameron Dance as a driver who you definitely count on for moving up in the race. Isn't always the best qualifier. He was down in 15th on the grid. And there's the move for Alex Sprague up the inside of Corey Crossan there. And you see Corey just looking to his right there just to make sure that he has the space he needs to exit the corner properly. And looks like he actually got a better run out around the outside of Alex Sprague there. Now, look at those two cars up ahead there of Sparrow and Duncan. They're coming closer together as these guys run side by side. They need to make sure that they sort out their position and start to mount an attack, because these two are going to start to battle and cost each other time.
But yeah, that's a big thing. If these guys up ahead can actually work together with all the squabbling that's going on right now. Remember, we talked at the top of the piece, and this is a big skill for go-karters, there's a time and a place. I don't think this is the time or the place. Wait until the last 2 laps, then find it out. But for now, try and disappear down that road. If anyone is watching along, they're in their ears, just tell them, hey Leo, hey Mitch, work together right now. We've got to make sure that we're fighting for 5th and 6th. I don't want to be fighting for 5th through 10th.
Yeah, for sure. You need to focus on the long game here, and it's not that long until the race is going to be over. We're on lap 8. That's going to be 5 laps to go from here, and the battle's still on for Corey Crossan here. all over the curb on the inside of turn 1. Dance is going to try and stick with them here. Yeah, that's going to be Cameron Dance having the luxury of the racing line coming into the keyhole, and he'll be where the more rubber is on the racetrack, but the position is protected. Dance has to get on the power here, and they just avoid getting into each other. Dance almost had to go beyond the curb there to make sure he had everything right, but he gets the run round the outside. Let's see if he can mount this attack.
And Croson did everything he possibly could to maintain momentum there. The problem is he was starting to drift a little bit towards the outside of the track. He had to lift, but he's been able to cover it. He's in hot when he gets down here into turn 4. He's able to cover the line off again. Have a look at Dance. Dance is going to have a run through a lot of these corners, but again, just can't do anything with it. Not at the right time on the track, on the lap. And again, he's just forced to bide his time. Be a little bit smart. What about our race leaders? I can tell you that margin, it's there's nothing in it. I think Antal Sabo's actually made a mistake somewhere in the middle of this lap, because all of a sudden Ewan Baker's right back there. And have a look at James Corbin at this point in time. They've both closed up. So I think Sabo's made a mistake in the middle of the lap.
Yeah, it looks like just poor runs through the opening sector. He dipped wheels off into the grass at the exits of turn 1 and 2, and actually went all the way beyond the curb at the exit of turn 2. So that's the reason why the gap has come down. He was previously holding about half a second back to Ewan Baker, but look at the recovery that he's made already. That gap going back out to 0.4 of a second. And now Ewan Baker might have to worry a bit more about James Corbin from behind than trying to attack Antal.
Yeah, that's a big problem, isn't it, for James Corbin at the moment? Again, I think these guys just, again, circumspect. We definitely recognise that Antal Sabo's got a lot of pace, and Sabo knows what he needs to do to defend. Again, the drafting games are being played in a straight line. Corbin, can he upset these guys? Can he just harass them, harangue them? How aggressive is Ewan Baker going to be? Based upon what I'm seeing from these guys, it definitely looks they're just playing a little bit of patience, There's now got 6 seconds back to Leo Duncan in that next pack, so they've got a fair bit of room. They can squabble a lot harder. I think they're going to wait till the start of lap 11. That's when they'll start kicking off.
Yeah, there's something that I talk about all the time is when you're involved in a battle like this and you know that the other drivers will just get you right back if you pass them, it's best to leave it as late as possible towards the end of the race. Sure, you might be able to run faster than them once you get into clear air, but if you aren't given that opportunity, then it's never going to happen. So wait for the final couple of laps of the race to really get your elbows out and consolidate your position. I think that's exactly what Scotty McQueen is doing there in the black number 63 up behind these guys. He's been sitting in 4th this whole time. He's been catching that little bit of slipstream off James Corbin and sitting pretty, waiting for it to kick off.
Just keeping an eye on that next battle pack as well that we were spent a lot of time talking about. And the update from Leo Duncan and Mitchell Sparrow is that they have built a little bit of margin. So whatever happened with Alex Sprague, he's not quite been able to close them down. But at the moment, another little bit of a mistake for Corey Croson, and this is the opportunity for Cam Downs. Forces him to go deep, to go late on the brakes. Can he pull the car up, rotate it nicely through the middle of the corner? Yes, he can. Touch wide at the exit, though. Touch of grass. Loses a hair of momentum, not enough to take advantage from for Cameron Dance.
Anna Klemic, meanwhile, losing 10th place to Hayden Kirk here, and Kirk now in the box seat for race 2 pole, but if Tom Bewley has anything to say about it, he'll try and make it 3 wide for that position. Klemic pulling out there, and I think that was a very smart thing to do, because it means that they can get right back on the power here as the 2 battle ahead. And it looks like that's Tom Bewley getting the job done on Hayden Kirk. But Hayden has the better exit out of the corner, over-undered him, coming into Thunder Alley, a little bit of contact. They are battling for race 2 pole here, remember. This is going to be one of the tightest battles on the circuit.
Yeah, and now Bewley's going to try and cover him off, but there's a little bit of room on the right-hand side. This is not a corner you can really look to go too wide through. Goes deep to Bewley, covers the spot off, touch of grass, but he paid for all the racetrack, he paid for all the tyre, and he is making sure that he used every single inch. Oh, and a few more. Somebody might want to get the lawn care services out there after this one's done. There's going to be a few bits of dirt and dust that need some turf thrown back down.
Yeah, for sure. The amount of tyre tracks we've seen on the exit of turn 2 in particular is worth talking about. Actually, have a look at that. That's James Corbin. He's fallen back to 4th. McQueen has gotten onto the provisional podium there.
Yeah, and what do they say? Lap 11, start of lap 11. There goes Corbin, falling to 1 spot. Can Scotty McQueen do anything? The problem is, with these 2 guys fighting, they've actually lost touch now with Ewan Baker. So they're just getting a hair worth of drafting at the moment. But for now, McQueen on the podium. Huge opportunity for Corbin, though. Can he fight back? And this is the opportunity that Ewan Baker... Now, if Ewan Baker wants to fight for it, there's no threat of being assaulted from behind.
Yeah, just get all the pace you can and try to mount that attack. McQueen actually got the position a full lap ago at the hairpin over the crest of the hill. There was a bit of too wide happening between Baker and Corbin, and McQueen took great advantage of it to slip himself into 3rd. Well, we're about to come up onto the penultimate lap. Antal Sabo has continued to be the pace setter here. His best lap actually... quite interesting to see. His best lap is a 135.2. Ewan Baker, 135.0. In fact, 135.0s from the rest of the top 4. So Antal has been able to stay ahead at crucial moments, but he's not the ultimate fastest car in the top 4 right now.
Yeah, a little bit of drafting support for Ewan Baker certainly helped him out with that one. Just had a quick look down the tail end of the field, had a little bit of an update come through from Race Control. Taylor Oakes jumped on the microphone to Race Control, said, hey, there was a little bit of an incident, and I believe it was with the 97 machine of Noah Kitcher. Race Control took a look at it, said, yep, that's worth a redress, because that's only a couple spots that have been changed hands between those guys. So no penalty, just a redress, playback on, they can go back at it. So big opportunity for those guys.
Yeah, massive opportunity indeed. There's battling going on all through the field. All those positions inside the top 30 up ahead as well. Keep an eye, though, on Cameron Dance. He's looking to make it P7 here. He is rounding up Alex Sprague round the outside on the way into the tight right-hander. And he's going to have the inside for the next hairpin. This is why Mid-Ohio is such a popular racetrack. That section of the circuit offers great racing opportunities. And Sprague having to yield on his way through the next right-hander. Cameron Dance up to P7 from 15th. That's a solid run.
Again, we talked about it, didn't we? Racecraft and knowing when to have a crack. The difficulty for Dance is 7's going to be the best that he can achieve from this one, as they'll get the white flag next time by the stripe. But he's made those moves. He's made them at critical times, and there's not really much of an opportunity for the competition to come back and have another crack at him. Leo Duncan shadowing Mitchell Sparrow for P5 on the racetrack, and he'll probably have a crack at him on this lap as well. There's very little chance he'll lose out to Cameron Dance, and then it's on for the race lead as well. How close was Ewan Baker through the last couple of corners? Big moment for Sabo, though. Carries momentum through turn 1. It could be at risk, but this is the cream overtaking spot on the lap out of turn 2 and then down at turn 4. And I reckon Ewan Baker's just not quite close enough.
Yeah, Baker was angling towards the inside of the corner there. Antal Sabo, meanwhile, breaking the draft on the way out. He turned in a little bit later. What you can see, though, is Baker got a great run out of the corner, and I think that weaving actually hurt Sabo's ultimate pace there, because Baker is edging closer and closer towards the braking zone. He's a bit too tight on the way in, though. He's going to have to try some alternate lines here in order to get one up here on Antal Sabo. They have been so close this entire time, the top 2. The only couple of cars in the field that still occupy the same position they started in. But Antal has held strong for this entire 13-lap run thus far. Just a few more corners to go. And we'll find our way to the checkered flag. Is there anything that Ewan Baker will be able to do coming into the carousel, the last right-hander of the lap here at Mid-Ohio? Sabo's got the momentum. He's got a car length's worth of gap over Baker. And he'll just line up the apex, accelerate out, and see the checkered flag ahead of him. Antal Sabo, your first race winner of the New Zealand Toyota 86 E-Cup. For 2025, Ewan Baker finishing second, and Scotty McQueen gets onto the podium. Round 1, race 1.
Yeah, but that's only race 1. There's a lot more left to come at this point in time, and that's critical, isn't it? Is that yeah, this is only race 1 of the season. 30 points on offer for a race win, but it's only 1 point per position. as they fight through the final couple of corners. For Bryce Harding, he'll be a little bit frustrated. He was up in amongst it. A little bit of a moment on the early laps. He's going to go toe-to-toe in a little bit of a close battle there for him. I think he falls to 23rd on the final lap. It was 19 thousandths of a second between himself and Aiden Lamont for 22nd on that one.
Noah Kitcher, a bit of a drag race to the line with P31 Taylor Oaks, and they will be your last couple of cars to get across the line here at Mid-Ohio. Oh man, what a fantastic first race there, and we'll only have time to really go through the results, and then we'll be right onto the grid again potentially. But Antal Sabo winning from Baker and McQueen. Baker got the fastest lap in that race. That's going to be crucial later on. There is a prize for the fastest lap over the whole night. Scotty McQueen in third. Corbin and Sparrow round out your top 5. Leo Duncan, Cameron Dance in 7th. Take the top 10 and flip it, and that's the order for the race 2 grid as we go through the rest of the field there. Some drivers there who would have been hoping for a little bit better. Bryce Harding having a couple of adventures off the circuit there, has to settle for 23rd, 30 seconds behind our race winner, and that's going to round things off for the first part of the night. Tell you what, Scott, race 2 is going to go off here. This is the longest race of the night.
Yeah, it certainly is. We've got an opportunity to have a quick chat with Ewan Baker. Tough little battle between yourself and Antal Sabo across all of the 13 laps there from race number 1. Fastest lap put together in terms of that first race of the night. But, mate, have you got anything for him in race number 2?
I mean, with it being reverse grid, potentially there might be some opportunities, but man, the pace is just so hot. The pace between everyone is so close as well. It's like you saw there, second to try and make a move, you got 2 other guys sniffing, trying to take it from you. So it's that fine balance of aggression and sort of keeping points in mind. It's a long championship, and yeah, it's good fun though. And to be able to run with Antal is always a great sign for the season to come, because he's at the top of everything he does. So yeah, it's good. Solid start of the night.
Look, I think I'm going to be honest with you. I know I've criticised you at times, certainly for your aggression, but I think race 2 here with a reverse grid is, yeah, the chuckle. I know we come to the loggerheads over it. Like you think it's one way, I think it's another. That's the benefit. That's the beauty of racing. But I would say race 2 here is your strong suit. Like it's one of those things where I go, look, aggression normally isn't the best way to go, but in a reverse grid, sometimes that actually is the best way to go. Have you got an approach? Like you said, you're already thinking championship points, but aggression at the same time. If you can get 2 spots on lap 1, Antal can't get them, that's a whole bunch of extra points.
Yeah, well, exactly. Like I say, it's a fine balance. I mean, you're not wrong in a lot of cases with the criticism of aggression, because there's been times I've done really stupid moves. So yeah, I've been trying to be better with that and pick my battles. So it's just try and apply that philosophy. If I see an opportunity, give it 100% and send it. But if there's a little bit of doubt, there's no sense, sending a guy off into the wall or spinning myself out, getting penalties, that sort of thing. So it's towing that line, walking that tightrope. So yeah, elbows out a little bit. I mean, these cars can take a bit of a bashing. So yeah, see what we can do.
Well, one of the things I actually liked about, I actually got an opportunity to talk to a really, really good buddy of yours, and Adam Briggs. Actually, we had a chat at the front of my current place that I'm living at, and you were actually come up in that conversation. And he said, yeah, look, he actually took the feedback on board. That's all I ever wanted. One of the things I say about racing is that there is no wrong way to go about it. That's car racing, right? We've all got different approaches, mate. So first and foremost, I want to say a big thank you to you taking some criticism on board. I took your criticism on board as well. Maybe I was a little bit too harsh. I think this next race is going to be the proof is in the pudding, mate. Good luck. Get your head down.
Yeah, hopefully it is. Thank you very much.
Mate, good luck.
Cheers.
Righto, Reese. How about that one for you and Baker? Sets the fastest lap in race number 1. Like he said, reverse grid. I'm really curious. I want to see how he applies himself, because, like I said, I think the proof will be in the pudding for him. I will admit, at times I've been overcritical of Ewan Baker, but I love the guy, and I love the fact that he went, yeah, you know what, maybe there was something in it. He fought, he defended himself a little bit. I love a guy that does that, because that means you've got a passionate race car driver. Has he got the talent to back it up? We're about to find out. Righto, ladies and gents. just a few moments before we head into race number 2. Inverted top 10. It's going to be Tom Bewley who managed to take away the pole position for race number 2. Corey Croson is going to line up alongside of him. He finished in 9th spot. Alex Sprague and Cameron Dance. Dance drove through the field from 15th to 7th. He'll start out of 4th for this one. Leo Duncan and Mitchell Sparrow, they finished the other way around in race number 1. They'll start alongside of each other for another one. James Corbin had a moment in the last couple laps. He starts out of 7th spot. Scotty McQueen will start out of 8th. He finished 3rd in that first race. And here's the battle pack that we've got to keep an eye on. Ewan Baker versus Antel Sabo. That rounds out our top 10.
Certainly does. And from there on, Hayden Kirk and everyone back basically where they started in race 1. It looks like the grid timer is going to run out pretty shortly, but Davies, Williams, Grunewald Jr. in 16th spot. Mitchell and Anderson 17th and 18th, with Aidan Gregory and Hamish Cleland rounding out your top 20. Avon Dunn and Aidan Lamont going to start outside there, with Bryce Harding and Fraser Clegg 23rd and 24th. I can hear the revs rising, so it looks like we're going to have to get things started here as we just go through the last few parts of the grid here. Watson, Allen, and then Taylor Oakes and Noah Kitch are going to bring up the rear of this one. I stupidly muted my microphone while you were interviewing you, and I forgot to unmute it. I was going to make the point that it's really good to see drivers develop over a long period of time, because Ewan, we've seen him racing around here for a couple of years, and it's always amazing seeing a driver refine their approach to racing. Let's see what further refinement comes here, as it looks like the revs have risen for race 2, and we are away. Tom Bewley leading us home, with Corey Croson and Alex Sprague in close pursuit. Up to turn 1 we come. Who's going to emerge from turn 1 in the lead? It's certainly going to be Tom Bewley. He got a fantastic start, but there's already plenty of side-by-side going there. Baker and Sabo side-by-side instantly. This is where the aggression's going to come in.
Yeah, this will be a huge thing, and one car getting away from the back end of the grid a long, long way behind everyone else. Might have stalled it as he was getting his run off. Make sure you don't get the thing into traction control as you launch it away from the grid. That is going to cost you a ton of momentum, and that means that Antel Sabo has managed to grab the spot away from Ewan Baker on lap number 1. The run down to turn number 4 on the first lap of the longest of our races here tonight. 16 laps of duration. I tell you, Cameron Dance was another driver that didn't get that car off the line all that well either. He's lost a spot, might lose a second, and James Corbin had a dive at him as well.
Yeah, quite the dive. I almost thought the car was going to do a stoppie. The front suspension compressed so much on the way into the corner there. Corbin side by side with Dance here. Just a little bit of overlap, but not enough to keep it round the outside there. Mitchell Sparrow's going to protect from the both of them. And into the hurry-up section of the circuit. Who's going to get the best exit here? It's already on for the lead. Corey Croson catching up at a rate of knots to Tom Bewley.
And the guy I was just keeping an eye on was Sabo. Sabo really closed up in on Scotty McQueen. Cold tyres, remember, they're not quite up to temperature, not quite up to pressure, and he was right there, and then he had to back out of it. And Ewan Baker had to check up as well, so they all had to use their smarts and race etiquette here to make sure they popped out the other side. You're right, here comes Croson. He's going to have a crack. He was on the back foot in race number 1. The longer that one went on, what's he got for us in race 2?
Very aggressive curb usage through turn 1. We'll see if that benefits him on the way out of the corner. Pick up a slight bit of slipstream off of first place. But look at that from Croson. He could have gone for the move, but he didn't. He's left it open, an opportunity from Alex Sprague to get up the inside for second. But it's not the end of the world if you're on the outside coming out of that corner. Straighten up the car earlier, carry the momentum, and Croson will protect second place. Now Leo Duncan will join the fight.
And the big thing is he supported Tom Bewley, and Tom Bewley supported him back. He could have drifted over and given Alex Sprague a little bit of slipstream, but he didn't. He worked with the guy that was willing to bump draft him. So it's about making friends. They're going to lean on each other a little bit. The best part about Toyota Ready 6s is door-to-door, banging, a little bit of contact. Sprague runs it deep as he gets up and over the crest. Now he's to the inside again. They lean on each other a bit more. Here comes Duncan.
Oh, off into the grass goes Mitchell Sparrow, just out of frame there. He re-enters. Oh, almost getting into the side of James Corbin there. I wonder if Sparrow's got a slowdown to his name. He has. He's got the furled black flag. He's going to have to give up that time somewhere, somehow. But there's no opportunity because everyone's all over the back of him here.
Well, hang on. There's an update on that. Safety car's been deployed. So we've got ourselves our first safety car of the season.
Okay, and it looks like Michael Board was the one to bring it out. He stopped on the entry into turn 2, the alternate chicane entry there. I'm not sure what's gone on for him there. I think Board was the car that we saw stalling and all the way at the back on lap 1. He was fighting his way up, but it looks like he got some damage from contact with Taylor Mitchell at the start of lap 2.
I think his car switched off.
It's an interesting incident. Hopefully we'll be able to get a replay of it because it's quite an intriguing one. Not the best of starts already for Michael Board here, but it'll ultimately come to an end here.
Something's happened. I reckon that might be hardware. So like it's nearly as if after he's come off of turn 1, because he got tripped up, somebody's got into the back of him. It's like his throttle wasn't getting to 100%, and now he's got no throttle pressure.
Yeah, I'm just reviewing how he recovered from the incident. He was able to accelerate away from the initial spin from that contact. He's got a mechanical black flag, so I get the feeling it's either from the contact or from when he got the car turned around and accelerating again, he hit a bump in the grass that looked quite harsh. So maybe that's what took him out.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
that's a weird one.
Certainly is. It neutralizes the field for sure behind the safety car. BMW M2 out the front of the field in a very striking livery indeed. But this is an opportunity for the drivers to reset, have a little bit of a breather, and get back going in a more orderly fashion than the initial race start.
Well, it's going to be, yeah, I think this will just be a short one. Albeit, I think that BMW safety car is much better driven at these speeds, as Matthew Pluck will absolutely attest. It's far easier to drive around at this pace.
Yeah, we've both given the BMW M2 a go, and man, it drives like a pig into the corners. It has massive understeer on the way in, big oversteer on the way out from all the torque that engine produces, and it's got tires that are harder than diamonds forged in the center of the earth. So it takes a bit of time for those tires to get up to temp. I'm honestly impressed that Matty was able to get that car around for the demo lap earlier on in the broadcast, but it suits the safety car role quite well.
Yeah, and I think it's also got semi-slick. I don't think they're just hard tires. I think they're a semi-slick tire as well, because that car is rain capable and there's no other tire for it. It's only got one tire compound, so I'm pretty sure they're a semi-slick.
Yeah, so that just decreases the amount of grip you have even more. Well, keep an eye out on goings on with regard to the administrators, as the safety car is actually starting to gap the field down the straight here. I think they might be going a bit too slow for the liking of the safety car. We'll see if it comes in at the end of the lap. While we're under safety car, there is an opportunity for you from the next round onwards for the top performer. You'll be able to vote in coming rounds for the driver with the best performance of the round, and the driver that you all pick there in the broadcast chat will win their choice of a Moser handbrake or shifter. Voting opens on the Tuesday after the race on the NZ Sim Racing TV Facebook page. So as I understand, not active for this round, but from next round onwards, we will be able to have that little extra competition for you all in the broadcast chat. The safety car has pulled away from the field, and we'll be able to find our way through to the green flag for the first restart of the night here, round 1 of the NZ Toyota 86 Cup. Tom Bewley going to lead the way to this green flag, Scott.
Yeah, there's been more issues actually for Hayden Kirk, I think, though, down at the back end of the field. So we're just waiting at the moment to find out what's going on there. But yep.
on the power for the number 4. And green flag flies, and we are away once again. Already on the attack is Cameron Dance, but it looks like he's being attacked by James Corbin around the outside in turn 1. Leaning on each other towards the exit of the corner. And they'll continue on their way up to turn 2. Antal Sabo right with them. And in the midst of all of this, 3 wide. Sabo trying to sneak up the inside there. Corbin having to open the steering, and now Dance finds himself in contact with McQueen and Baker. Scotty McQueen getting past Ewan Baker sometime before that safety car. This is going to be some interesting racing here in the mid-top 10.
Yeah, Ewan Baker's still not actually able to make any progress. He's dropped spots since starting at a 9th spot, so he's finally going to try and get down the inside. I was just watching an incident a little bit further back. There was actually 3 wide through turn 1. I think it was Nathan Anderson, Josh Lane, and Bryce Harding. Actually, might have been Tyler Williams, but yeah, everyone's certainly having a crack at it at this point in time because, well, we lost a few laps with that safety car. They're going at it to try and get those spots back.
Yeah, how many laps did we lose under the safety car? About 2-3 laps. So. Yeah. It all comes down to basically the length of race 1 now in terms of the racing action that we're going to get. Keep an eye once again on Dance here, who's back to 9th place. Corbin still right on his rear. And then we have Davies and Kirk, those 2 KSR cars, which we saw flying in formation in race 1 as well on the attack. They'll be able to take advantage. Dance a little bit too slow at the apex for James Corbin's liking there.
Yeah. He's just had to try and see if he can make some time any which way he possibly can. And remember, Corbin was up inside that top 3 in race number 1. So now he's going to be aggressive again. Different style. He ran a very patient, very measured approach. But that all stemmed from a solid qualifying outing. And now he's got to get the elbows out and get after it. Justin Davies is about to actually have a line up and have a crack at him if he's not careful. So the big issue he's now got is he's got to find pace. He's got to find that drive somehow, or else he's going to... Right now, he's in one of those spots where the best way to defend is to get aggressive, because if he's not going for Cam Dance at the moment, he's going to be losing spots to the guys queuing up behind.
Looks like Gronwald's joined the party here as well behind the KSR cars. Hayden Kirk going to go for it here on Justin Davies, and weaving behind them is Gronwald, searching desperately for a way through. Well, see the door open on the inside of the corner there, becomes the outside for the left-hander. Can he hold it here across the crest and stick it up the inside for the next right-hander? He certainly can. This is some good racing here between Jack Gronwald and Justin Davies, but Gronwald not quite able to find his way through.
Yeah, and for Gronwald at the moment, it's going to be about patience. He lost so much in race number 1. Now is an opportunity for him to really show what he's capable of in race 2. The big mover, obviously, is Antal Sabo, who's managed to cut his way to 5th spot. He's now starting to look like he was at the back of the leaders. And the big thing is for Tom Bewley, right when that safety car was called, he'd been a little bit annoyed because he'd just broken the toe. Now he's back in the thick of these guys, and he's towing them back around again. So he is going to be at risk here. And as this group starts to reform, Sabo's up to 5th. Sabo is within about a second of the race lead. So he's basically got to hope that he can support a few of the guys behind him to fight off Sabo.
And Sabo's next target is Leo Duncan, and you see the move to the inside from the race 1 winner. If there's anything that Sabo can do, it's get on the brakes late, but he didn't quite get the middle of the corner down pat. Looked a little bit messy there as there was a bit of bumping and grinding with Leo Duncan at the apex. So Sabo's going to have to wait another few corners for that opportunity. It's allowed the top 3 to break away. And Alex Sprague has gotten into the lead here. Tom Bewley in trouble.
A little bit of a mistake from Bewley, and okay, fine, he's lost the lead. Well, now he's got to make sure he sits second, and he's not vulnerable to Corey Croson. Interesting to note how Croson sort of recovered. He was not quite able to get the moves done that he was looking for, and that's why he lost spots at the back end of things. Ewan Baker, in the meantime, has cut his way back through. He's up to 7th, so that margin between himself and Antal Sabo's dropped off massively, and the critical factor, he's not lost touch. There's margins in between him and the guys ahead of less than a second, so he is still technically a part of the lead battle pack, so he's doing a really, really good job there. At the moment, I think the biggest move is probably Jack Gronwald outside of that top 10. Nathan Anderson's also plus 3 spots. Bryce Harding, 23rd to 17th. Remember, he was on the grass in that first lap of race number 1. He's actually recovered reasonably well, but he's starting off on the back foot, unfortunately, with all those points lost in race 1.
Yeah, indeed. But he's got plenty of time still to find his way up the field. The end of this lap will be halfway through the race distance. So, a little bit early on the brakes there for Corey Crossan's liking was Tom Bewley. A little bit of contact between the two of them. Sabo getting up the inside of Leo Duncan once again, and this time manages to stay alongside on the exit of the corner. But here comes McQueen and Baker. They'll be right in it once again here, our top three from race one. Bit later on the brakes for Sabo. He'll get the move done there on Duncan. Coming into the right-hander, and now he's got some clear air to close in on the current top three. Sprague, Bewley, and Crossan. We'll have to start checking their mirrors, because cue the Jaws music. Antal Sabo's coming.
And not just Antal Sabo, it's McQueen and Baker that are coming along with him. Critical is the entirety of the top 10 is actually still locked in this little battle, so really, really good opportunity for them all to still stay connected. The first car that's over a second out is actually Hayden Kirk, and you can see his Kiwi Sim Racing entry in the background in that lovely silver fern on the side of the car. Actually, I've always really, really enjoyed the Kiwi Sim Racing cars. They're just pretty to look at in the sunshine. So for Hayden Kirk, outside the top 10, doing a reasonable job for himself, but unfortunately, I think he's got to look backwards for. Jack Gronwald's picked off another spot. He's up to 12th.
Yep, good moves up for Gronwald, for many drivers in this field, and Gronwald has some clear air himself he can use to catch up to Hayden Kirk. Took him a while to find his way past Justin Davies. It's on for the lead pack, though. Sabo ducking to the inside as Bewley goes for the lead again on Alex Sprague, and he'll get it on the way out of the corner. But Sabo took advantage of the door opening on the inside, and he is through into third, going for second. Corey Crossan will have the slipstream off of Alex Sprague, and Sabo a bit hung out to dry there with no slipstream to his name. Maybe a bit of side draft to work for him here. Oh, big defense from Leo Duncan there as he tried to keep McQueen behind him. This is insane racing we're seeing here. Too wide, too deep for fourth spot.
And the big thing, Reese, the thing that I'm not happy is from Antal Sabo's perspective, I think he was trying to side draft, but he was leaning on cars. There was a really big risk of him getting rotated off the circuit at high speed in a straight line. For me, I didn't think he needed to take that risk. I thought he had a little bit of time, and that's the issue. Now he's on the headlights, so he's already saying to Tom Bewley, hey, mate, I'm here, I'm coming. There's not much you can do about it. Bewley, I think Bewley's about to make that 86 about as wide as a semi-trailer.
Yeah, probably a Toyota Tundra, really. That's the widest Toyota I know of. Well, I think it's only a matter of time before Sabo finds his way through, because remember, every single racing lap so far, every time they come to turn two, the last of the late breakers is always Antal Sabo.
Yeah, now he's right here. He's connected. He's right there and underneath the tiny little rear wing. Does that rear wing even provide any downforce? In fact, he's actually going to be patient with Tom Bewley. I didn't expect that. I think what he's looking at here is that he's not going to pick him off into the keyhole. I think he wants to pick him off down here at turn 4. He wants to get that draft. He wants to get down the inside and past him, and then think about it. The big thing from Tom Bewley's perspective, though, is last lap, you know what? He's just pulling to the side. He's going, you know what? Not interested. Have it down the inside. He's settled on second.
Yeah, and I guess the advantage of running behind Sabo is you'll be able to pick up the slipstream off him down that straight as well, so that might work to Bewley's favour in the laps to come. But the top 4 still incredibly close. In fact, I suppose you could extend this gap all the way back to 12th place. Gronwald right at the back of this long line of cars. Any one of these drivers could get onto the podium if things go their way.
Absolutely, they could. You know, just a little bit of biff, a little bit of barge, a little bit of something going wrong for the cars ahead. And you know, when you've got a bunch of cars that are driving differently because they're getting checked up at different spots in the corners, not a lot of these guys are actually nailing the lines at the moment because everyone's attacking the corners just very slightly differently. Just watch Corey Crossan get checked up a whole bunch by Alex Sprague as well. So those two have an opportunity to make some rubbing as racing. And Leo Duncan says to Ewan Baker, you're going to have to go the long way at turn 1.
Yeah, slightly compromised exit from the final corner there for Duncan. Baker will sail through and find the slipstream on the run down to the second corner here. Already seeing Antal Sabo starting to gap everyone behind him. The gap for the lead up to about 0.3 of a second at the present moment. The problem, though, for Baker and McQueen is they've got 4 cars in between themselves and Sabo. They're going to have to pick their way past here in the final few laps, and it's proving a lot more difficult than I think they might have expected.
The toes giving the cars a lot more support than necessarily they can overcome in terms of lap speed. Probably worthwhile noting for a lot of these guys, what were the lap times last time by? 35.9. Oh, Caden Kirk and Jack Gromwald Jr. have just made contact. Gromwald's finally managed to fire a move down the inside of Hayden Kirk. They're going to go side by side up and through the hills and the twisty bits, and the next few cars in and around these guys. Finally gets it done. Not quite for Gromwald, and Hayden Kirk's going to keep the nose on the inside of him, and this is risky. That's a big old brave move. Late on the brakes, round the outside for Gromwald. Well, Reese, I think that's exactly what we were asking for when we wanted Toyota 86 racing action.
Yeah, the momentum that Grunwald was carrying there was magnificent, and that's one of the things that you can see happening at Mid-Ohio occasionally. You run that wider line through that particular corner, the guy on the inside has to compromise his line to give you space, and there's racing going on just behind them as well. Josh Lane trying his best to keep Anna Klemic behind him and find his way past Justin Davies as well. Tip in for turn 1. Make sure not to hit the start of that curb too hard because it will unsettle the car. And now Klemic stands a chance of getting through here. Blocked is the car of Josh Lane.
Oh boy.
But he's going to go up the middle 3 wide on the way into the keyhole and take the position.
We're talking about a reverse grid racing. We were talking to Ewan Baker about bravery. That was bravery and commitment for Josh Lane. But he made it work. He basically put the other 2 drivers. He said, look, I'm going to put you both in an awkward position. Either you guys... somebody's going to have to back out here, or I'm going to take it all. And both of the other drivers backed out, so he just went, yep, thank you very much, I'll take that one. Big thing for Josh Lane, tiny little crinkle in his rear bumper as well. So at some point, oh, somebody's gone very wide down here at turn 4, missed their braking zone.
Yeah, I'm not too sure who it was there. Oh, no, yeah, James Corbin, and it looks like, oh, yeah, ended up having to fall behind Klemic and Bryce Harding as well, who's found his way into this fight. But immediately Corbin on the attack again. He wants those positions back in short order.
Well, time's running out now, and there's only going to be 4 laps left when they get back to the start finish line. Tom Bewley just ran very deep as well. He was often in the grass on the run to the final couple of corners. So everyone is pressing on at this point in time, and I've just seen an issue for Peter Vandenberg down at the back end of the field as well. So elbows are out in race number 2. Reese, we've got 4 more rounds of this left to go, and 1 more race tonight.
Yeah, indeed. Oh, I tell you what, I've just reviewed what happened to Peter Vandenberg, and he actually ran right into Joel Herbert, who had gone for a spin at turn 4. Herbert was trying to pass AJ Giddy, ran into the back of him and got spun around, and Vandenberg just went straight into him. Massive damage for the both of them.
Yeah, unfortunate for both of those guys down at the tail end of the field, so might see if we can try and find a replay. I think we're actually working on that one at this point in time. It's Corey Christensen is the driver just ahead of him. Alex Sprague was actually on the flashes just to tell Tom Bewley, hey, get on with it, son, or I'm coming through. That's just some mental warfare being played, and there's a lot of buttons on the steering wheels, and that's one of them being used as an intimidation tool.
Yep, no rule against that as far as I'm aware. Cross in here. Continue to hold off Leo Duncan and Scotty McQueen, who is right on the back here, and McQueen sees the door open, firing it through into Thunder Alley, but there's not quite enough overlap to get truly alongside. Has to compromise his exit, and now the opportunity opens for Baker to get through at the 3rd last corner. We mentioned that you don't want to go too wide through here too much, but McQueen and Baker have somehow pulled it off. No, they haven't. McQueen gets into Baker, and Ewan's been sent off into the grass.
Is he going to recover it, and how many spots is he going to lose? 9 spots, stays inside the top 10. That was aggressive. The thing that Race Control will have a look at is McQueen did run wide on that corner, so he dipped 2 tyres off and into the grass. The problem will be the rejoin. Did they both leave each other enough space? Was there enough racing room left by the pair of them? That one will be debated, and that one will be one that will have question marks over it. Guarantee you Scotty did not intend that. It's just the problem is when you get to the tail end of this thing, the room runs out really, really quickly. We've got 3 laps left. You can't afford to give that spot up to Ewan Baker at that lap. You do, you're never getting it back.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's going to be debated for a bit in the race control booth, I believe. That'll leave us with some slightly larger gaps between our top three and the rest of them. Corey Croson still trying to defend fourth spot from Leo Duncan, just behind this group here. And that will give another opportunity for McQueen to potentially make his way further up. For now, Alex Sprague continuing to keep Tom Bewley very close company, but the racing is so high intensity, and Mid-Ohio is such a compact track here with corners coming thick and fast wherever you look. It can be very difficult to actually keep that momentum up. You're managing the car the whole way around this place.
Well, one of the biggest things, I just heard a response from race control. Netcode triggered the contact, which means they're going to leave it alone. They're not going to touch it. So it's race on.
All right, fair enough. Race control deciding it is best to let that one go for now. But Ewan Baker will get no commiseration from that. He's currently still mired in 9th spot. He's over 3 seconds behind Cameron Dance and losing time as Cam drafts off Mitchell Sparrow.
It was somebody very wide at turn 1. It might have been Sprague. I think it was Sprague. Sprague's going to fire into the inside. There's contact for second.
Oh my God, Tom Bewley just recovering it there.
About to kick off.
Yeah, certainly is. The momentum is gone now for Tom Bewley, and he's getting swamped by everyone else in the top 10.
This is really about to kick off. Bewley started this lap in second. He's now 7th on the road. Is he going to become 8th? They're all about to split as they head down to turn 4. 2 by 2. Here they come. McQueen is going to have a shot at Sparrow. And then keep your eyes on Duncan and Croson, who are going to go side by side. Is there more contact? There is. They're leaning on each other. This has gone nuts, Reese. This has gone absolutely mental.
Yeah, Mitchell Sparrow and Scotty McQueen bumping door panels there through the left-hander. That forces McQueen back to 7th place. And Cameron Dance is right on the back of all of this. He sees the world open up in front of him, but he's only going to have one more lap to try and capitalize on all of this chaos here in the battle for 3rd place.
One more lap. You mentioned it. They're going to come out of this final corner and they're going to get the white flag. Race leaders just ahead of them. Sabo got through the field, got through it aggressively. He's had room. Now there's elbows out, I think. Was that Bewley? He got to the side of Mitchell Sparrow. It was. And those are teammates. They're still leaning on each other down the front straight away. So no love lost between the Mackenzie Motorsports machines. 1 to go in race number 2. Oh, and we got a feature to come as well.
Oh, God. Scotty McQueen almost getting right into him there. And yeah, it looks like that might be a slowdown penalty potentially for Tom Bewley. It is, and that has completely ruined his run here at a potential podium in race 2. He's going to have to let that time go somewhere, somehow, and all of this has meant that Antal Sabo is out to a 3.5 second lead over Alex Sprague. A crazy run here from the number 92. It looks like he's going to be the man to beat this season.
Yeah, and Tom Bewley's had to wait and wait and wait and wait. He just had to give up 2 spots. Did get the slowdown penalty handled in time. McQueen and Danson are going to go side by side. You're right, Sabo's got it. He's comfortable at the moment. He's going to put 60 points in the bank so far tonight, with a possibility of 90 for the max for the night as he works his way through the back half of the lap. These guys are still going at it. Bewley's still in the lead amongst this one. He's not going to give up on this final lap. Ewan Baker's only a second back, so if there's any contact from these guys in the final lap, it's all going to be on. Have a look at the guys up ahead. There's nothing left. Final couple of corners. Croson manages to cover off Mitchell Sparrow. Who's going to have a crack at the final corners? They're still side by side. Dance and McQueen. McQueen's got the nose ahead. Dance tries to hang on to it. Can't do so. Bewley's going to have a crack at him as well. Second last corner. Last corner. My word. Oh, Toyota 86ers. Take your hat off to them. Somebody give the feel to drive in a real world car.
Absolutely. We completely missed Antal Sabo crossing the line there. A dominant victory in race 2 as the rest of the field comes across the line here. Noah Kitcher having a slightly better race 2 than he did in race 1. We crossed the line in 25th there, just ahead of Aiden Gregory and James Watson, and that's going to round out our field there. Nathan Allen, the final driver to cross the line. We had unfortunate retirements from Peter Vanderberg, Joel Herbert and Michael Board, and that's going to be your results there. nearly 4 seconds the lead that Sabo had at the line. Gronwald getting into 11th spot, Josh Lane 12th, with Davies, Corbin and Harding rounding out your top 15. Klemek having a very tough time there, slipped down the order throughout that race. And as we mentioned, slightly better run for Noah Kitcher, still battling hard at the rear of the field there. Well, hopefully we'll see Michael Board and Peter Vanderberg back out there for race 3, but for now, oh goodness, we have a moment to take a breather here. And I tell you what, this is going to be an incredible night of racing yet to come. Before we get to an interview, we're going to hear from our sponsors once more. You're watching NZ Sim Racing TV, round one of the NZ Toyota 86 E-Cup here. Big thanks to our supporters such as Cream Insurance, Mannon Racing Products, Next Level Racing, Has 3D, Speed Nation, Race Lab, and of course 24 Red. We've got Leo Duncan here, podium in race 2, ready for a chat. Leo, it was certainly a difficult one for you, especially with those front runners coming through. Looked like quite a hectic run out there.
Yeah, dude, it was honestly pretty terrifying, to be honest, bro. Like, it is pretty scary when everyone's that close, you know. If you make a mistake, then you get passed by 5 cars, and like, if you go for a move and mess it up, you get passed by freaking 10 cars, you know. It's really hard, and I'm just doing my best, man, and I hope everyone kind of calms down a bit.
Yeah, indeed. Well, it's been a nice run through the night for you so far. Qualified 5th for race 1, 6th in that race, and a podium here in race 2. You're going to be starting in 3rd for the final race of the night. But the 3rd race is also the shortest. You're only going to have 10 laps to work with here, which means you're going to have to be on your A game.
Yeah, dude. My plan's still the same. I'm just gonna, you know, do my best. I'm not gonna be too aggressive. You know, it's very risky to go for moves and be over aggressive here, and then guys are coming behind you. And it's very hard to, you know, defend whilst not losing time to them, so you don't get passed by everyone. You know, but I'm just gonna keep my cool, keep my composure. You know, and hopefully go right, bro. Like, it's going pretty well so far. I'm pretty happy, to be honest.
Yeah, as you should be. I think Mid-Ohio is one of those tracks where, yeah, dialing back the aggression a little bit and staying in the rhythm is so very important, because particularly in the second half of the lap, those corners come thick and fast, and your entire lap is basically defined by how you exit the back straight.
Yeah, dude, it's all about that, eh? Like, it's mainly just about getting a good exit, and if you mess that up, it is bad. You know, it's pretty nerve-wracking, but I've kept my cool so far, bro. I don't know. We'll see how this next one goes. You know, I just want to get top 5 again, and I think I'll be in a good place for the championship. So I'll be happy with that, to be honest.
Yeah, for sure. Well, a consistent round 1 for you thus far, and well, round 2 onwards. Let's hope that it continues. Thanks for joining us, Leo, and we'll let you get done with your preparations for race 3.
Hey guys, thank you. All right, see you later.
Leo Duncan there, podium for the 2nd race here tonight. And, well, we can bring ourselves into the last couple of minutes of the warm-up session. Just a little bit of a breather here in the preparation for our 3rd race here. The standings at the moment, this is how things are looking from, it looks like these are the race 1 points that we're seeing at the moment. Antal Sabo on top, and of course with the win in race 2 as well, he'll be 60 points down. With Baker and McQueen finishing a bit off the podium in race 2, that's probably going to be a solid advantage for Sabo coming into the 3rd and final race. But as we mentioned, it's only 10 laps for this final race, so the elbows are going to be out.
I certainly are, Reese. I mean, the big thing is moving into the feature, and our final race of the evening with only 10 laps, is Ewan Baker starting at a 9th spot, and he would have lost out in terms of point standings as well, because Scotty McQueen finished several places ahead of him. So McQueen will probably sit 2nd in the champ. Actually, you know what? Whoever sits 2nd in the championship, I think that's too close to call, because Alex Sprague, Leo Duncan, well, they finished race number 1. Leo Duncan finished in 6th spot. Mitchell Sparrow was the colour he was finding. He finished in 5th spot in race 1, finished in 5th spot in race 2. But Leo Duncan finished 6th and 3rd. So there's every opportunity that Leo Duncan might have actually jumped both of those guys, or we could have a dead heat for 2nd at the moment. But Sabo's still going to get away well. I think if you're smart, you get a good launch here, particularly off of 2nd through 4th. I think you just sit there and you follow and you do whatever he does. Just follow that guy, because if you do that, you're going to be safe. You're going to be perfectly fine. You should be able to run away and use the draft to defend.
Well, 3, 2, 1, and off the racetrack goes everybody. Disappear, and we'll find our way to this final race. Man, what a night it has been so far. What a first round for this championship. And what a race yet to come here at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course. On the grid now for race 3. By virtue of winning race 2, Antal Sabo is going to start on pole position. Got Alex Sprague for company on the front row. Leo Duncan and Corey Croson will be on row 2, with Mitchell Sparrow and Scotty McQueen on row 3. In 7th spot, Cameron Dance got Tom Bewley for company. Bewley slipping back in race 2, with Ewan Baker and Hayden Kirk rounding out your top 10.
Yeah, outside of your 10, we're going to get back to 11th and 12th. It's going to be Gronald Jr. He'll be looking for a really good shot inside that 10. Josh Lane alongside. 13th and 14th, Justin Davies and James Corbin slipped a long way through the field in that second race. Bryce Harding was on the climb. Can he find something in this final result? Comic speeding in amongst some of the biggest battle packs of the night. Williams from Cleland out of 17th and 18th. Final row inside the top 20. Nathan Anderson from Ajay Giddy.
Taylor Mitchell going to start out of 21st with Avon Dunn alongside. In 23rd, Fraser Clegg got Taylor Oakes for company on row 12. Noah Kitcher going to start 25th alongside Aidan Gregory. And James Watson will have Aidan Lamont for close company on row 14. Nathan Allen starts in 29th, with the top 30 rounded out by Joel Herbert, who retired from race 2. It was the same for Peter Vanderberg and Michael Board, your 32 starters for the 10-lap run yet to come. I don't think I've ever broadcasted a race this short that wasn't at a track like Le Mans.
Anything can happen in this final one. This is going to be interesting. Yeah, you're right. And there's going to be 10 laps by about, what are we looking at? 95 seconds as well. So we're about 950 seconds. Yeah, my calculator's just overheated in terms of trying to crunch that one. Such was the fury of that last that last race. But we're looking at about 15, 16 minutes for this final race.
Yes, indeed. Proper sprint, this one. And Sabo, I think, will have the advantage here, starting from pole as the revs rise and we get ready to go for the final race of round 1 of the NZ GR86 E-Cup. We are away as the green flag is waving in the flag stand, and Antal Sabo getting the best start of anybody. He is jetting away from everyone as they find their way to turn 1 for the first time. Alex Sprague already under pressure from Leo Duncan for second spot as the field makes their way through side by side. Noah's arcing it in places, but everyone getting through the first corner cleanly. Big dart to the inside there. I think that's Cameron Dance looking to make some moves.
Yeah, you'd be right on that one, Reese. It's Scotty McQueen, sorry, my apologies. Tom Bewley went very deep down in at turn 2, trying to go the long way around. Ewan Baker's just going to give him a rough up as they come out of the keyhole. And now the run down the straightaway to turn number 4. And have a look at the battle pack. Already Sabo is trying to skip clear. And you know what? When they get down the other side, he might have just about done it. Duncan's going to flip-flop to the outside. Look for a little bit of run. Can't quite get that one done. Here comes the action as we get through the up and down at 4 and 5.
And Leo Duncan surprisingly chill in the interview for what he's dealing with at the moment. Bit of a slide there on the exit of the right-hander will bring Corey Croson right into the fold of this battle. And just behind them, Mitchell Sparrow has got Scotty McQueen and Cameron Dance rearing over the back of him, 2 wide behind Ewan Baker. That's Hayden Kirk and Jack Gronwald that have found their way side by side, and Gronwald just covering off Hayden Kirk as they make their way towards the carousel.
Finally, Gronwald's going to crack that top 10. A little bit too little too late as he cracks it inside the first lap of the final race of the night. Lap 1 in the books of 10. Only 9 more circuits from round number 1. Hayden Kirk slips outside the top 10. James Corbin is looking for a few more spots as he will grab 2 on the opening lap of that one. He sits 12th at the moment.
What a lead for Antal Sabo already. 1.2 seconds at the end of lap 1 as Sprague continues defending from Duncan for second spot. The side-by-side running all the way through the top 10. Looks like Mitchell Sparrow is going to keep Scotty McQueen and Cameron Dance behind him there in the background. But Dance versus McQueen here on the way up to the twisties. Looks like McQueen's going to get a little bump draft from Tom Bewley here. What does Tom do? There's not enough space to move over, but he is going to try and stick his nose in 3 wide. Not quite as late on the brakes as he could have been. Ewan Baker going to find his way up there and stick it up the inside of the left-hander. Bewley has to take to the curb to avoid.
Yeah, and still not quite complete with that pass for Ewan Baker. Cam Dance and Scotty McQueen are going to make contact. Baker gets into Bewley. He's going to rotate him. Here we go.
Oh, both Ewan Baker and Jack Gronwald off the track there, and one of the Frog Leap juiced cars has spun around. That's Hamish Cleland that has been caught up in all of that somehow. A little bit of instability and cars having crashes in front of you. It's a recipe for disaster.
The thing was, Baker got his nose down in the inside, and now he's going to try and settle back in. Right, so it's all kicked off. 10 laps, shortest race of the night. And we're all starting to get aggressive. Right, Sabo's clear. Sprague, Duncan, Croson, Sparrow, a little battle pack number 2. And that all kicked off because Scotty McQueen was desperately trying to hold off Cam Downs. Those two got through clean, the rest of them, not so much.
Oh, there's Gronwald just clipping in ahead of Josh Lane there, and Lane's going to be under attack from both Anna Klemic and Hayden Kirk. 3 wide into the keyhole for 14th place. And Klemic once again deciding discretion's the better part of valor and backing out of that one, letting the drivers ahead of them swap those places and pick up the slipstream down the straight once more. Hung out to dry a little bit as AJ Giddy in that sequence. Another Cream Insurance instant replay here of that incident between Hewlett, oh goodness me, Hewley and Baker. That is crazy stuff. The fact that they were both still able to get back onto the racetrack and keep going is frankly amazing.
And very little damage on both of them as well. And we're going to get back out there and get back into the racing. Clemic's now trying to hold off those in behind her as she's just barely hanging on to the inside. Fraser Clegg goes around the outside up and across the crest of the hill, will get the job done. So there's more that's going on. Klemic had some contact there on lap number 3. So, well, Tom Bewley actually that got into Klemic.
Yeah, might have been. Klemic back down to 21st now, and she's having a red hot go here at the run back into that top 20, stuck behind Fraser Clegg for the time being. And there's an angry pack of cars right behind. We'll be wanting to check the mirrors for sure. All things considered, it could be a lot worse for many of these drivers. Yeah, there's been drama, there's been incidents, but we still have all of our drivers running.
We do for now, but for how long? And tell you what, Alex Sprague is still just about hanging on to second place. He's blocked all the way to the right-hand side of the road as Corey Croson does his absolute most to try and go around the outside. Can't quite do it. That presents the opportunity back to Leo Duncan. Have a look at the queue of cars lining up behind them. Righto. I think it's rush hour here in the heart of Mid-Ohio at the moment.
Next, please, who is going to have a go at second? Pretty much everyone in the shot here. Scotty McQueen in the middle of the pack here, getting some consistent results here, more consistent than Baker at least. Ewan, despite his incredible performance in race 1, not able to capitalize in races 2 and 3, and so might miss out on quite a few points from that. Oh, big move up the inside there from Mitchell Sparrow. Leo Duncan having to open the steering at the last moment there and keep the position. McQueen now sees an opportunity.
And Corey Croson made a huge mistake at the same time, so now he's going to cover it as they run down into turn 1. So this is aggression, meets dives,
McQueen's around!
McQueen goes around, gets corrected out, so he's going to drive throughout the other side. Look at Baker, though! Finds that momentum, cuts his way through. He's now going to pick the spots off of Cam Downs as well. So Ewan Baker was on the back foot after contact earlier in the race. Now he's back on the front foot.
What happened for McQueen there was he actually got into the rear of Mitchell Sparrow in turn 1, and the weight transfer sent McQueen around. Usually when a car hits another, it's the car that gets hit that spins, but not in this case. And Cameron Dance and James Corbin had nowhere to go. It happened right in front of them on the inside of turn 1. Brilliant capitalization from Baker.
Yeah, and he had to drive through. He's got to get aggressive. Guess what? He's back inside the top 6 after sliding outside the top 10. So, hey, maybe it's not gone so bad after all. He would have been like to have been a heck of a lot closer to the pointy end of things, but I tell you what, he took a second out of that battle pack. Check this out. This is the run down through turn 1. Oh, look at the checkout. There's nowhere really to go. It's the incident between McQueen and Cameron Dance ahead. And, well, it's taken some time for the Creme Insurance Instant Replay to get popped out, but I tell you what, getting the money's worth in race number 3.
Certainly. I wonder how many more of them we're going to get here, because there's plenty more racing still to come. Yeah, we're only going to be halfway through here with Antal Sabo. He's basically in a different postcode at the moment. He is 4 seconds ahead of the rest of the field. He's barely showing up in any of our shots. He is that far ahead. The Vermilion MRP car is certainly well prepared, and Sabo is driving the wheels off that thing to try and take all 3 races here tonight.
An incident between car 15 and car 4 was just mentioned for Netcode, which is Bewley and Anna Klemek. And Taylor Mitchell, I think, is done for the day as well, so he's also requesting. So there's the stewards are going to have their hands full after this one. There's a lot for them to review, and I think there's another issue for one of those Mackenzie Motorsports cars, and it's Bewley again.
Yeah, Tom Bewley, he has had a really rough go of this in the number 4. His teammate is still right in the midst of the battle for second, though. So, at the very least, the Mackenzie Motorsport team is going to have at least one car making those headlines up the top in race 3. This is the battle in question. Corey Croson and Alex Sprague through Thunder Valley. Alex Sprague on the inside, going to keep the position. Croson very wide, and Sparrow gets through.
Bryce Harding, well, we said he was actually starting to have a much better night. He's made contact with each other. Both of those guys have had rough nights. Corbin and Harding, both into each other, both off the road.
And it looks like that happened on the way out of the hairpin section. Just a little miscommunication between the two of them as the fight continues for second spot. Mitchell Sparrow now on the outside of Alex Sprague into the first turn. This is an insane fight. It is for the runner-up position. Turning in early there was Mitchell Sparrow, but Sprague was on the inside, keeps the position. They're both struggling to keep the car going straight, and Croson gets another chance here. What about Baker, though? He's right in the midst of all of this. He's boxed in. He can't find a way through. Neither he or Cameron Dance. They'll have to stick behind for now.
Yeah, 3 wide on the run down into the keyhole. 2 wide when they get out the other side. Croson goes the long way round. Now he's trying to take the draft, and he finds the window. There was a perfectly sized Toyota GR86 slot for him to put his nose into. He got there. Gets some draft as they run down the back straight away. Sprague and Croson. Now it's 3 wide. Mitchell Sparrow, you madman! You absolute menace to society. But he gets the spot, Reese. That's nuts. That's insane!
It all happened in a span of just a few moments. Well done to Mitchell Sparrow, and well done to everyone else for keeping it clean too. Baker takes advantage and puts Alex Sprague back down behind Cameron Dance. Sprague now running 6th. Could still have a go at a top 5 though. Nah, he needs to settle for that 6th spot. Cameron Dance gets the better exit out of the corner. And now Corey Croson has the race of his life here to defend from both Mitchell Sparrow and Ewan Baker.
And here's the thing, Sprague started this lap 2nd. He's 6th. He's 6th, Reese. He's lost 4 spots on this lap. Croson deep at the second last corner. He's going to cross the road. He'll go.
Oh, no!
Dodges Ewan Baker. Huge wreck on the front straight away.
Oh, that is...
If the reverse grid race went off, you were thinking it wrong. Race 3's just left the afterburner.
Yeah, that's really collected Scotty McQueen, who has lost his front left wheel from that. I think Cameron Dance might have been involved in that too. And oh no, poor re-entry for Cameron Dance. That's ripped the front right off Tom Bewley's car. That is carnage that's happening here on the 8th lap.
Yeah, Bewley's massively damaged. He's struggling to try and pull the car up. Now he's gotten into more cars.
Oh no. That's McQueen there, who was trying to get it turned in for the keyhole, but there was no front left on that car. There was no steering. It looks like we're going to be seeing a few of our top competitors retire from the race as a result of that.
Bewley's done. Bewley's called it for a tow. Well, I think we might get a safety car. This might call it. This might be the end. Oh, no, what happened? Yeah, safety car's deployed. I think the race will be over.
Yeah, so it all happened with the number 10 catching the curb there. Dance got hit, then McQueen got hit, and then where did oh yeah, so it was at the exit of turn 1 that Tom Bewley caught Cameron Dance as Dance tried to re-enter the racetrack there. It just continued on from the last corner to turn 1.
4 cars. 4 cars will not see the conclusion of this race. Tom Bewley, Scotty McQueen, Cameron Dance. We're going to get back to green flag racing. We're going to get a 1-lap dash.
Yeah, we are. They're already getting going again. No, actually, they need to collect the safety car first. So yeah, it looks like 1-lap dash to the end of this race.
Oh boy. Oh, wow. What a nutty race. And don't forget, I think Scotty McQueen is actually lined up. I think he's sitting on the start-finish straight. I think he's in a bad spot to... No, he's off the racetrack. He's actually okay.
So, there's 4 cars littering the racetrack. We have...
He is.
Yeah, we had the number 10, Corey Crowson, on the start-finish straight. We got Cam Dance at the exit of turn 1. Scotty McQueen at the entry to turn 2, and Tom Bewley at the exit of turn 2. It looks like they've all been granted tow permission, and we'll be getting back into the pits in short order. But wow, those are 4 names that I would have expected to be up the top here.
That went nuts. That went absolutely nuts. But you could see it coming too. It was a powder keg. They were all just going mentally at each other, and it all kicked off. Crowson was just so deep at that second last corner, and he just couldn't get the car to pivot back at all. My word.
Oh, we're going to be getting another replay thanks to Cream Insurance here of McQueen trying to continue it on here, and gets hit by Bewley there, and that involved a few more cars with slight damage to the front, and that's what put McQueen in the position that he's in at the moment, back into the pit lane. Well, the rest of the field is just about caught up to Antal Sabo and the safety car, and we will start that 1-lap dash in just a few moments' time. They need to get a little bit closer there, all forming up behind our race leader. This is a crucial second chance here for the likes of Mitchell Sparrow, Ewan Baker, Alex Sprague, and Leo Duncan. They have one more opportunity to attack Sabo here, but we'll see what kind of start Antal gets.
By the way, Reese, I've just seen my favourite comment of the night. Commentators were saying everyone was still going a couple laps ago. So really, this drama's on them. That's on you, buddy. As Sabo's going to get that launch. Oh, he caught the curb.
Yeah, that's a messy exit from the final turn for Antal Sabo. He's immediately going to try and defend there into turn 1. White flag flies. One more lap to go for round 1 of the NZ Toyota 86 E-Cup. That's a great exit from turn 1 for Mitchell Sparrow. Is he going to go for the dive here on Antal Sabo? He's going to stay behind.
And I think the biggest thing that Antal's got to think about is if Mitchell Sparrow gets the draft on him, look, just lock down, take P2. I think you've just got to take P2. Don't take any risks on this final lap, because Sparrow finished a bunch of spots behind you in the first race, and there's every opportunity that he could finish with a really strong P2 in race number 2. I know he's quicker, but sometimes you've got to take that ego out of it. Look at the field going at each other.
Yeah, Jack Gronwald here trying to grab 6th spot off Justin Davies, and they'll be side by side for the time being. Hayden Kirk making up a couple of positions on Josh Lane, and AJ Giddy just behind and sweeping round the outside. That is going to be 6th spot for Jack Gronwald. Great run up through the field in this race, but we just have one more sector to go for our top 5, who are keeping each other very close company. Antal Sabo, despite his mistake on the exit of the final turn, has managed to hold on to that lead, and he only has a couple more apexes to hit, a couple more throttle pedals to smash to the ground, and he will come away with wins in all 3 races here tonight at round 1. Your round winner is going to be Antal Sabo. What a race.
Oh my lord, and they're still going on in the background as well. I think Justin Davies just picked up a spot. Someone made a mistake on the final lap of the race and jumped a bunch of spots as well. Josh Lane, I heard him on the radio on that final lap as well as he was trying to get out through the... Corbin is going to finish this race, but in 23rd. And think about that, he was on the podium for the bulk of the first race of the night. My word. Nuts. Mental. Oh, Reese, we've got 4 more weeks of this.
Yeah, this is insane. Antal Sabo going to take the round win here with 90 points in the bag coming out of the round. A perfect score for the number 92. Mitchell Sparrow getting on to second place there. Ewan Baker on the podium once more after it went wrong for him in race 2. And, well, we'll find our way further back here to Josh Lane, finishing just outside the top 10. Kitcher making his way up to 12th. That's a massive run from 25th place. Anna Klemek getting back into 15th as well. A lot of these drivers further back in the field were helped out by that chaos that brought out the safety car.
Yeah, and you just have a look at the list of drivers. Tyler Williams from Bryce Hardings, James Corwin, Joel Herbert, Nathan Allen, Hamish Clenlon was actually up in a really good spot. Look at these guys, 10 seconds off the lead because of that late safety car. Michael Board, 27, Tom Bewley, Cameron Dance, and Scotty McQueen. Look at the 3 drivers, Bewley, Dance, and McQueen, rounding out your top 30, but 2 laps down.
Yeah, that's crazy. Absolutely crazy stuff as the field makes their way in on the in-lap. And, well, considering everything here, I've been reviewing lap times over the course of these races, and it looks like we'll have to go all the way back to race 1 to pick our fastest lap award. And it's going to be Ewan Baker with a 1:35.036 in race 1. Of course, qualifying laps are not counted. But Ewan Baker is going to pick up a $30 voucher for the Mannon Racing Products Sim Racing store. So good on him.
Yeah, so, I mean, he's going to come away, maybe not necessarily in second place at the end of the, I mean, points still to come. And I think that's quite critical as well, is that I think those points will probably be a little bit temporary. We're not 100% confident on who's going to finish second on the round, but hey, when you can take a big result away at the back end of that, my word, that all kicked off. And you know, the worst part about it is I was actually talking to you and I was saying to him, he's got to be a little bit more conservative and think about round results. I actually think that would worked against him. I think he should have been more aggressive tonight. And it's rare that I say that, because if he was more aggressive, he actually would have been further ahead. He would have banked more points on the night. He was a little bit conservative. And, you know, sometimes you swing too hard, and I think he's done that tonight. Sometimes he went points. He's finished. He's put a bank of points on the board, but gee, yeah. Man, I kind of feel a little bit bad now because, you know, that's my comments that got in his ear.
Oh, dearie me. Well, I'll tell you what, it's going to be a good opportunity for us to take a little breather as we chat to our drivers who are joining us now. So the first one to join us is going to be the championship leader coming out of this round, Antal Sabo. A clean sweep of this round, Antal. You must be happy with that.
Very stoked, Reese. Thank you very much.
Yeah, honestly, you really had to fight for it in race 2. In race 3, there was maybe a little scare for you when the safety car came out, but managing that pace out the front was crucial.
Dare I say that last one felt a little bit like 2021 Abu Dhabi, but not quite for the championship yet. But that was a little bit nerve-wracking. I was put under pressure a little bit by Mitchell there, but just stoked to have kept enough of a gap to keep him behind. Just had to stay composed and keep to how I've been running laps the whole night. So just had to stay there composed there, which we did. I'm very glad for that. And just a very good performance. That race 2 was a lot of fun. I'm just glad to have made it through all the whole field in front of me. 10 cars is quite a hike still, so I'm just very glad for that. Put us in a very good position for race 3, and everything just sort of seemed to work from there.
Well, looking forward to the rest of the series, round 2 next week is going to take us to Homestead Miami Speedway. Bit of a different course here to Mid-Ohio. It's basically a chicane and hairpin fest on a flat combined oval and road course. I would guess that you'd prefer a track like Mid-Ohio in terms of enjoyment, but I think the overtaking opportunities are going to be just as good at Homestead.
I'm not sure I quite enjoyed both tracks, to be honest, to suit my sort of characteristics and what I want out of a car and how I like to drive a track. But hey, we make it work wherever we go. Homestead's going to be definitely a tricky one. Lots of passing opportunities there still, and that last little banker coming out of the last chicane should be pretty interesting with racing people and following people. be interesting to see how that sort of even looks on the broadcast with the elevation change there. But I'm looking forward to next week now. I think we're going off on a high here. Get our heads down and look ahead to next week.
Indeed, the first step complete to potentially getting that test day in the Toyota 86 Cup car at Hampton Downs. Thanks very much for joining us, Antal Sabo. Congratulations on the round win.
Cheers, guys, and big thank you to MRP Sim Racing, IQ Security, Vermilion Esports, and RCIS Race Car and Sheds. Cheers, team.
Antal Sabo there. We'll let him go to celebrate his victory. And looks like Scott Rankin will have a chance to catch up with Ewan Baker here, who got the fastest lap of the night.
Ewan is going to walk away, not necessarily with the biggest points haul. I mean, the difficulties in race number 2 were there on show. A little bit lucky in race number 3. Also, the elbows back out. But hey, mate, fastest lap of the night. You at least walk away with a Mountain Racing Products voucher. So there is some positives there.
Yeah, exactly. Can't complain at that. I mean, honestly, the pace these guys have in this field, it's not the type of thing I would necessarily expect to get coming in. So it's definitely a nice bonus. And yeah, as I say, not the best points haul, but it's consistent enough, race 2 aside, and I think it's pretty decent. I mean, we see how wild that got in race 3, and I think if some of the guys can get in amongst Antel, it could cause some chaos and tighten the championship up. So we'll see how it goes.
Mate, in terms of things, I know we spoke a little bit earlier on, and I actually said to Reese just a few moments ago, look, I think he actually should have been a touch more aggressive. But look, a lot of that sort of boils down in race 2 to getting that launch right. Obviously, just didn't slip the clutch necessarily right, and Antel got a great launch. He was supreme on those launches each. A little bit to work on in terms of the race start, which, I've got to be honest, it's not one of the things that I expected to be walking in here and going, hey, race starts are actually the big critical factor in race 2.
Yeah, it's just they're so underpowered, so you have to ride the clutch for so long just to get them off the line. And yeah, in race 2, I was a little bit too eager, dropped too much clutch, and just bogged the thing down. And then yeah, just a couple of little mistakes, like letting Scotty McQueen back past me after an error, and yeah, and then the subsequent contact, of course. So yeah, a bit unfortunate, but these things happen, and you know, luck went my other way in my favor for race 3. So yeah, evens out in the end.
Mate, I have questions. Obviously, calendars. I think there's a lot of really, really interesting tracks. I'm looking at Long Beach into a second last round of the season, but we're off to Homestead, Miami next time out. That's going to be, I think, a really critical reset. A lot of straight lines, a lot of chicanes as well. Confidence level heading out next time to Homestead.
Probably middling. I mean, I've done a few races around there. I do quite like it, but it's not one of the tracks I've done a lot of laps around. And as you say, long straights, it's going to be, pretty slipstream central. I mean, you gain 2.5 tenths just in the straight round here, so it's going to be especially noticeable next week. So it'll be close racing. It should be good racing, and yeah, it's just keeping my head screwed on straight, trying to keep the car clean and see where we end up. But as you say, end of the season, things like Long Beach, that's going to be a lot of fun, especially if weather starts to play a factor into things.
Toyota 86 wet tires, anything could happen, mate. Who would you like to give a thank you to?
Yeah, big shout out to the team at Kiwi Sim Racing, and big thanks to our sponsors, Speed Nation, InspireNet, Scott Technology, and Shearwater Studios. Yeah, awesome to have you guys on board, and yeah, it's good to be able to put on a good show for everyone behind the team.
Congratulations to Ewan Baker, who manages to get 3rd place in race number 3, fastest lap, and 2nd place out of race number 1 as well. We'll keep an eye on the points as everything's progressed. Thank you very much for joining us, Ewan.
Cheers, guys. Thanks.
We'll take one step. Yeah, go ahead, Reese.
I was just going to say, to confirm, Ewan Baker will get that $30 MRP voucher for the fastest lap too. Go on, Scott.
One more interview before we round our way out for tonight. We're going to be chatting to Avon Dunn, who unfortunately had a little bit of a boxed about the ears kind of racing night. Started 22nd in the middle race of the night with the reverse grid. Managed to convert that into 22nd, unfortunately, for the final race as well. Drove through the field. 8 spots gained in that final race. That was chaos in the middle of that pack. I mean, we saw you get boxed about the head a little bit in the start of race number 1 as well, Avon.
Yeah, it was pretty hectic in all the races. I don't have my race starts down in the 86, so I tend to just lose 4 or 5 positions on the race starts. But it was good racing anyway. Everyone was really good to race. and just did what we could in the last one. Did help that so many cars died and got some free positions, but it's part of it.
Yeah, certainly is, Avon. And Race Control has decided that your moment, turn 2 in race 1, is the moment of the race. You're going to get yourself a Has 3D headphone and cup holder for your rig for that massive save.
Yeah, thanks. Thank you. I can barely even remember the moment, but I think I got pretty sideways there and got it back. So no, that's awesome, mate. Thank you.
And ultimately, the run for you, as Scott said, very consistent, but hoping obviously for a bit better at the next couple of rounds. Homestead, I think, is going to grant you a little bit more space with its long straights.
Yep. I think I had a little bit too much confidence coming into this. It did pretty good in quali, but I just couldn't put it together in quali today. So get some more practice in and see how we can do in round 2.
Excellent stuff, Avon. Well, congratulations on nabbing yourself the Has 3D gear for that moment of the race, and we'll see if there's any more big moments for you yet to come. Is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
Just thanks to everyone for putting this on, all the sponsors, of course, and my own sponsor, my workplace, Garage 5, MX5 Specialist. Yeah, sort of happy to have everyone be a part of it. It's awesome. Thank you.
Avon Dunn there, winner of our moment of the race from round 1 of the NZ86E Cup. Tell you what, Scott, I'm excited for the rest of this series. We are going to be going to Homestead Miami Speedway for the next round of the championship next week. And we're certainly hoping that everyone here in the broadcast chat that's been enjoying the action tonight is there next week too.
Yeah, look, I've got to be honest. That delivered. It was exactly what we thought it was going to be. I think it's going to be even tighter next week. Wider straights. We do have oval segments of the track. It's quite a flat track through most of it, but there is a good dip. Again, technical. Corners that fold back on themselves in a car that wants to be quite tail happy at moments. So lining the corners up, getting the car set, it's going to be difficult, but more overtaking. I think we're going to see 3-4 wide over racing next week is very possible.
Yeah, certainly is. Well, mark the date in your calendar, the 5th of May, next Monday night NZ Standard Time. It's going to be an absolute ripper. Pleasure to bring it to you all here on NZ Sim Racing TV. Once more, we want to thank our sponsors and supporters here. Cream Insurance, major supporter of motorsports and sim racing in New Zealand, helping to get this series off the ground. Next Level Racing on there, as well as Mannon Racing Products. Has 3D providing the moment of the race prize. Speed Nation, keep an eye out for them. NZ suppliers of brands like Moser, Thrustmaster, Next Level Racing, Turtle Beach, Butt Kicker, and more. Race Lab and 24 Red Racing. Thank you so much to everybody. And also thanks to Moser, the top performer. The poll is going to be opening on the NZ Sim Racing TV Facebook channel through the week. You can vote for the driver who had the best performance of this first round, and the winning driver will get their choice of a Moser handbrake or shifter. So keep an eye out on Facebook at NZ Sim Racing TV for that poll. For us here on NZ Sim Racing TV, I'm Reese Gardner with Scott Rankin alongside me in the comms box. Big thanks to the crew behind the scenes for bringing you all these live pictures and getting this show off the ground. We'll see you next week for round 2 of the NZ Toyota 86 E Cup.